A figure clad in a white robe, surrounded by stars and symbols, declared that the princess born to the kingdom of Astoria would bring ruin to the world. The prophecy descended hundreds of years ago. Since then, no princess has lived past the age of 5. At first, no one believed it, but after witnessing the various disasters that occurred while the princesses were alive, everyone began to agree that the princess must die. However, my parents refused this command. A minister addressed the couple on the throne, "Your Majesties, if you let the princess live, disaster will surely befall us." Quillian retorted sharply, "With or without a princess, famine and disaster have never ceased. Therefore, we cannot kill that child." Because, the nobles whispered in the hall, "Even without these things, all the princesses until now have had strange personalities and grew up to be wicked. It's absurd for the eldest princess to live to be 5. Even so, my father said, the queen and I will raise her well. And so, under my parents' protection, I survived. But that peace did not last long. The carriage disintegrated in a blaze of fire. A voice screamed amidst the chaos, "Oh no, it's the queen's carriage. The queen is still inside. The queen passed away." In the church, King Quillian stood solemnly with his children. The coffin was filled with white flowers, surrounded by ministers bowing their heads in silent mourning. A minister roared at the king, "Your Majesty, this is all because you let the princess live. If the princess had died, the queen would have." Quillian's red pupils contracted abruptly. A murderous intent surged, a flash of light, and blood splattered on the spot. The minister's body fell heavily to the ground. Quillian's voice was cold and clear. "From now on, listen well. Saraphina is my and Lucia's precious treasure. Anyone who harms my daughter will die. After my mother's death, my father became a tyrant. On one end of the scale was me, and on the other a mountain of bones. I, who was once oppressed by them, grew up safely under my father's love." Quillian knelt on one knee, looking gently at the young Saraphina. "Saraphina, no one can hurt you, so don't worry." He asked softly, "Is there anything you want?" Saraphina's cheeks flushed, and she remained silent. Quillian gently pulled her into his embrace. "Don't worry. Whatever it is, I will give it to you. Father brought everything I wanted before me. At first, I felt uneasy, but a voice whispered from deep within my heart, I want more. You are a princess. You can have everything." That was the powerful magic within me, the seed that nurtured the demon king. The seed filled me with endless magic and also stole my will. "I want cake." "All right, I'll give you a cake as big as a castle. This time, I want the Duke's family heirloom, that blue pearl necklace." "All right, I will fetch it for you." "I want that beautiful forest in the neighboring country." From some point on, I began to obey the seed's commands. Every evil deed I committed made the demon king's seed grow stronger. And then it finally blossomed. Saraphina floated in the blood-red sky. Enormous demonic wings unfurled behind her. Red lightning crackled around her. King Quillian and Prince John were both dead. But the demon king Saraphina must pay the price for the bloodshed she caused across the continent. The knights raised their swords and shouted in unison, "Kill her." Saraphina's red pupils were hollow. She raised a hand corroded by dark magic. When did it become like this? Dark energy erupted from her body, instantly devouring the knights. "No, this isn't what I wanted." The knight captain roared, "Everyone, retreat." "Captain, I'm not injured." Saraphina bit her lip. "Please, someone stop me." A figure stepped over the bloody slope, slowly approaching. He looked up at the destructive figure in the sky. What a perfect form for a demon king. Castelin's blue eyes were full of scorn. To trample on innocent lives like this. He drew his sword, which shone with holy light, and pointed it at Saraphina. "I will take your life to atone for your sins." Saraphina's heart skipped a beat. A sharp pain shot through her chest. Castelin's power weakened the seed's magic. "Now I can end all of this." "Castelin." Saraphina used her last ounce of strength to roar, "Kill me." The blade pierced her chest, and blood gushed out. With blood at the corner of her mouth, Saraphina softly called his name, Castelin. She used her last bit of strength to say, "Thank you." Castelin looked at the dying girl. "Saraphina, princess." Saraphina's body turned into golden specks of light and dissipated into the air. Why did I become the demon king and destroy this world? If I had died at birth, as the prophecy foretold, my beloved family would have been safe and sound. Princess Saraphina woke up with a start. A voice sounded by her ear. A maid, holding a tray, asked with a smile. Did you sleep well, your highness? Shall I prepare for you to wash up? What? I was stabbed to death by Castelin. Where am I? No, this place feels very familiar. The maid held up a mirror. This will make it easier for you to wash your face. A young, tender face was reflected in the mirror. Saraphina's pupils contracted. What is happening? I've become a child. A familiar voice came from the doorway. Sarah, are you awake? Quillian walked in slowly, a gentle smile on his face. Good morning. Tears welled up in Saraphina's eyes. She reached out a trembling hand. Father. Quillian immediately sat by the bed. Sarah, what happened? Saraphina quickly shook her head. No, it's nothing. I just had a nightmare. She hurriedly jumped out of bed. I'm really fine. I'm going to wash my face. Quillian called out worriedly. Sarah? Saraphina rushed into the washroom and slammed the door shut with a bang. She leaned against the door, trembling all over. She opened her palm. A faint wisp of red magic appeared. Just as I thought, the Demon King's seed is still inside me. Saraphina looked at herself in the mirror. Red magic coiled around her. Although the seed is still weak because of my rebirth, if this continues, the seed will blossom again, and I will become the Demon King once more. Saraphina tightly gripped her skirt. This is a blessing from the gods, a second chance. Tears glistened in her eyes, but her face bloomed with a resolute smile. If I die now, everything that happened before won't happen again. Father won't become a tyrant. The war won't break out. Everything can be stopped. I want to tell my father and brother, but that I love them. Thank you. Life has given me a chance to protect the ones I love. Sarah, are you awake? Father, don't tell me I've been reborn again. Saraphina sat on the edge of the bed, her eyes vacant. Sarah, are you all right? Are you not feeling well? Saraphina snapped back to her senses and quickly shook her head. No, I'm fine. I'll go wash up right away. She hurriedly jumped out of bed. Quillian called out worriedly from behind her. Sarah? Saraphina stood before the mirror, her breathing ragged. Does this mean I reset every time I die? She gripped her skirt tightly, her knuckles turning white. If this is true, there's only one way to be sure. I have to test it myself. Saraphina's gaze turned sharp. Saraphina woke with a start, drenched in a cold sweat. It happened again. She looked at her own small, tender hands. Reset again. Saraphina walked to the mirror. A wisp of purple magic swirled around her fingertip. The seed has gotten stronger. Does this mean the magic gets stronger with every reset? This isn't a blessing from the gods, but the seed's obsession. Visions of blood and corpses flashed before her eyes. Is everything going to repeat itself? Saraphina's gaze became firm. No, I absolutely will not allow it. I must find a way to stop the seed. A knock came from the door. Princess, are you awake? Saraphina abruptly pushed the door open. A blonde woman walked in. She smiled gently. Emma. Saraphina rushed over and hugged the woman tightly. Princess. Tears dripped onto the floor. Saraphina choked out. I'm sorry, Emma. It's all my fault. I'm sorry. I was the one who killed her. But the warmth of this embrace, I can't let go. Emma gently caressed Saraphina's cheek. Wiping away her tears, she asked, Is it because you stayed up late last night? You'll go to bed earlier today, won't you? Saraphina nodded, sobbing. Yes. Did you brush your teeth properly? Yes. Did you finish all your vegetables? Yes. Saraphina fought back her tears. Quillian walked into the hall. What on earth is going on? He looked at Saraphina's red, swollen eyes, his brow furrowed. Sarah, why are you crying? Mrs. Gray, if you did something to her. Saraphina immediately spread her arms, shielding Emma. Dad, don't bully Emma. Quillian looked taken aback. Saraphina had a stubborn look on her face. She didn't do anything wrong. You can't be angry with her. Quillian immediately softened. All right, Sarah, it was my mistake. I misunderstood. Don't worry. Saraphina lowered her head. First, I must stop my father's tyranny. Then, I need to find a way to stop my transformation into the Demon King. At the long dining table, Saraphina sat alone. Servants stood quietly in the distance. A young male servant swallowed nervously. Saraphina wiped her mouth with a napkin. I'm finished. She pushed the plate forward, and it instantly became sparkling clean. The servants were dumbfounded. She finished her food without screaming even once. What happened? Emma looked at Saraphina. No desert? Saraphina smiled and replied, I told you. From now on, I will behave well. What's scheduled next? All right. In the afternoon, there's theology and etiquette class. The magnificent castle bathed in sunlight. Everything seemed so peaceful. In the hallway, two servants whispered, Did you hear? The princess has suddenly changed. Even her tutor was moved to tears. Maybe she's finally grown up. Grown up? Please, she's only been good for a few days, and you're already going soft? A red-haired man scoffed. We're talking about the Demon King princess from the prophecy. She's smart. Maybe she's realized her situation, like being isolated and all that. The man's eyes were contemptuous. She's always played the part of a proper villain. Emma looked at them coldly. Were you just speaking ill of the princess? The men turned around. Mrs. Gray. The red-haired man met her gaze without fear. Stating facts isn't bad-mouthing. You know better than anyone. You suffer the most. Emma's gaze was calm. She has indeed caused trouble, but it has nothing to do with the prophecy. It's just because she's still a child. All of my children went through that phase. Of course, it needs to be corrected. The red-haired man's lips curled up. So you finally agree? Mrs. Gray. No, Emma said decisively. I will never agree to imprisoning the princess in the temple. That is abusive violence. The red-haired man sneered. How foolish, Mrs. Gray. What if she really does destroy the world, as the prophecy says? Emma turned her face to the side. I will stop her with my life. Is that enough? She gave a slight bow. Then I will take my leave. The red-haired man watched her retreating back. What a pity. When the princess was acting up, it was easier to manipulate the nobles and the public. Am I right? Emma stood in the center of the great hall, reporting to Quillian on the throne. The princess is no longer throwing tantrums, and she has been actively participating in her lessons. Quillian rested his chin on his hand. You don't seem pleased. Yes. Is it that prophecy again? Emma lowered her eyes. But if the princess changes, the court's opinion will change with her. Quillian's voice rang out. Mrs. Gray. His eyes were cold. I never care for such nonsense. Lucia and I once thought the same, that if Saraphina grew up to be gentle, people would believe in her kindness. But nothing changed. I hated myself back then. I even wanted to kill her. Saraphina lay on the magnificent large bed, her arms spread wide. I don't know why I always return to the past, but maybe this is a golden opportunity, a chance to understand the Demon King. The seed continues to whisper in my ear. In the darkness, a purple gem shimmered. Sarah, look at that gem. Don't you want it? A dark shadow placed a hand on Seraphina's shoulder. This dress and necklace, too. They're all yours. The dark shadow grinned. You can have them all. Seraphina's eyes snapped open. I can't let my guard down. If I lose control, my reputation will get even worse. Most importantly, if I'm not careful, Father might become a tyrant again, just like in my past life. Seraphina sat up abruptly. Two maids came at the sound. She raised her head, her gaze firm. I want to go to the library. Sunlight filled the magnificent library. Seraphina walked alone down the long corridor. Speaking of which, I've been seeing that moved expression on their faces a lot lately. The princess what? The princess wants to go to the library. She looked up at the bookshelf. I have a feeling that book will have something dark written in it. I hope that book has content about the Demon King. But the problem is, Seraphina puffed out her cheeks. If I were an adult, I could get it easily. But I'm only 10 years old right now. She stood on her tiptoes, stretching her arm with all her might toward the high shelf. A voice came from behind. Princess, what are you doing? Seraphina turned her head. She saw the two of them, the twins who had once plunged her life into hell. Throughout history, sibling rivalry is far more common than harmony. My father and his brother, Theodore, were no exception. Theodore's sons, naturally, had no reason to like me either. Even without the prophecy, I was a political threat. One of the twin boys' voices rang out. Wow, to meet the princess in a place like this. The other boy followed up. Are you here to find a book? Seraphina looked up. Yes, I want to read a book. The boy's lips curled into a sneer. Not to tear all the books to shreds. Seraphina answered coldly. I'm not going to tear them up. I'm going to read. Is that so? The boy's smile deepened. The book pages were instantly torn, fragments flying everywhere. Princess, there you go again. Saying you want to study was a lie, wasn't it? Seraphina's face was cast in shadow. She looked down at the shredded paper at her feet. No, it wasn't. Am I lying again? The princess is just as the prophecy says. She definitely wants to become the Demon King. I used to hear things like that all the time. Seraphina raised her hand and pointed to the book high up. I can't even reach it. There isn't even a ladder nearby. To say I took it down and tore it up, don't you think that's strange? The boy was stunned. Why are you so quiet today? Who do you think you are? The boy grabbed Seraphina's wrist. Anyway, no matter what you say, no one will believe you. What are you going to do? Seraphina's eyes were icy. Teaching him a lesson is too much trouble and too easy. In that case, why not just kill him or break his wrist? Seraphina's red pupils glinted with killing intent. No, it's better to cut out his tongue so he can never speak again. The two boys were intimidated by this aura and took a step back. One of the boys' faces flushed red. WW, what do you think you're doing? He raised his hand high, preparing to slap Saraphina. Fire blazed in Saraphina's eyes. A hand suddenly grabbed the boy's wrist, stopping him. What are you doing to the princess? The boy cried out in pain. Ow, Your Highness. The boy's face was filled with terror and sweat. Saraphina looked up in surprise. Brother John? Saraphina's pupils contracted sharply. Brother John. John Delrod Astoria. John's voice was bone-chillingly cold. Were you just about to lay a hand on Her Highness the Princess? The boy frantically waved his hands. No, I wasn't. That's not. John kicked the boy in the stomach, sending him sprawling to the ground. The boy curled up on the floor in pain. John looked down at him. I will formally raise this issue. The two boys' faces were filled with fear, but John's gaze grew even colder. Leave. The boys scrambled away from the scene. If John hadn't appeared, Saraphina's fingers tightened on her skirt. I might have just because I was in a bad mood. That hurt someone. John looked at her with a blank expression. He said nothing. Saraphina looked up. Brother. A brilliant smile blossomed on her face. Are you back from the summer palace? Are you feeling well? John's expression didn't change in the slightest. I will report what happened today to the Emperor exactly as it occurred. He turned to leave. Go do what you were doing. Saraphina reached out her hand. Ah, brother. She wanted to call out to him, but only saw his retreating back. Saraphina stood alone in the empty library, her figure looking exceptionally lonely. Rain beat against the window, washing over the green leaves. John lay in bed, his breathing steady, his hands folded on his chest. He slept quietly, his short black hair scattered on the pillow. John's eyes snapped open, his golden pupils glowing in the dim light. It's still 3 days until I return to the Imperial Palace. John Delrod Astoria, Prince of Astoria, heir of Quillian. He was born unable to channel magic smoothly, and his body was consequently frail and weak. His parents spent all their time doting on his younger sister, the child of the prophecy. Even after their mother's death, his father's attention was solely on Saraphina. To father, I'm probably no different from a stranger. John stood by the carriage as servants busily loaded the luggage. He was about to set off on his journey home. Fine. If we're strangers, then there's nothing to be disappointed about. Brother. Saraphina's radiant smile appeared in his mind. Was the last time I saw her half a year ago? John lay in bed and let out a long sigh. Why? Why does she look at me with such loving eyes? He suddenly gripped the bed sheets. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. Is that the doctor? John sat up in bed. Who is it? Brother. It's me, Saraphina. John's gaze instantly froze. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Cool. The door was pushed open gently. Saraphina peeked her head through the gap. She ran quickly into the room, her skirt fluttering. Saraphina stopped by the bed. Are you feeling well? Your health always gets worse on rainy days. John's eyes were devoid of emotion. How did you know? Saraphina smiled and replied, I heard it from the doctor. That face again. John's gaze turned cold. So what are you here for? Saraphina hugged a book. I have a request. Can I read my book here next to you, brother? She hugged the book tighter. I'll be very quiet. If I disturb you, I'll leave right away. John looked at her in silence. After a moment, he spoke. I have a question. Why here? You can read in your own room. Because I want to be near you. Saraphina's eyes sparkled. I like you, brother, so I want to spend more time with you. We've barely ever met. We're family, yet we're no different from strangers. But why? Why does she give me the unconditional love that even my parents never gave me? Why does her face light up whenever she sees me? Saraphina stood before him, hugging her book with a smile. Rain beat against the window. Night deepened. Saraphina put on her boots. She spread her arms, her cloak whipping in the wind. All right, I'm ready. She placed one foot on the curtain. Saraphina leaped, jumping down from the high windowsill. There's not much time. Only today can I find a medicinal herb to cure my brother's illness. He's always unwell, always staying at the summer palace. If he gets better, he can stay at the main palace all the time, right? More important than anything. A bloody image flashed by. John, bound by thick ropes, his clothes stained with blood. I want to protect my brother. Saraphina's gaze was firm. She clenched her fists. On a rainy night, the forest path was muddy. Saraphina trod on the slippery ground, her cloak wrapped tightly around her body. She raised her head, her gaze determined. Moonlight pierced the curtain of rain, illuminating her solitary figure. It's been a long time since I was here. She looked down at the vast forest below, her vision blurred by the rain. The moonflower, a flower that blooms only on a rainy, full moon night in the land of kings. Fire consumed everything. Protect the princess at this moment. The young Saraphina reached out her hand, desperately crying, Mama. Her mother was surrounded by fierce flames. "Sarah, you must live, no matter what." A man from behind embraced the crying Saraphina. Seraphina's hands grasped futilely at the air as she watched her mother being devoured by the flames. "Mama." In the rain, a pure white moonflower quietly bloomed. Seraphina's figure sped through the forest. She stopped, her gaze sweeping warily around her. A few glowing sprites danced in the air. After Mama left, the forest became untended, and these things appeared. The glowing sprites circled in the air, emitting a soft light. Leaf butterflies, a type of magical beast that spreads displacement powder. Just 2 or 3 of them are enough to annihilate an entire mercenary group in an instant. But in the end, they're just magical beasts. To me, who possesses the Demon King's seed, they are useless. Darkness spread from beneath Seraphina's feet, instantly devouring the glowing sprites. She waved her hand in annoyance. Honestly, these insignificant things are always getting in the way. I have to get back before everyone realizes I'm missing. Seraphina quickened her pace, treading over the muddy ground. A huge vine burst from the earth, coiling around Seraphina. She tightly gripped the moonflower in her hand. With this, I should be able to cure my brother's illness, right? He might be wary of me, or even hate me. Seraphina gazed at the flower in her hand, a slight smile gracing her lips. But as long as it can be by my side, I'll be happy. Suddenly, the vine tightened violently. Seraphina's gaze sharpened. A flash of red light. The vine was instantly severed. The broken vine spewed green branches and leaves. She looked up in shock. A ball of fire landed on the grass, instantly erupting into a raging inferno. The fire spread rapidly, surrounding her and the moonflower. No, Seraphina looked at the sea of fire before her. I had to put out the fire quickly. A phantom of a woman appeared in the raging fire. She was screaming in terror. Seraphina's pupils contracted. She gripped the collar of her cloak tightly. "No, I can't be afraid here. This is the flower for my brother." In a sea of fire, a giant man-eating flower mushroom. It opened its cavernous mouth. Seraphina was frozen by fear, unable to move. The flames died out. Moonflowers were scattered on the scorched earth. Rain washed over the palace eaves. John rustled the leaves, his mind elsewhere. The day's events kept replaying in his mind. He couldn't concentrate. Maybe I should just go to sleep early tonight. A frantic shout came from outside the door. "The princess is missing." John's eyes flew open, his pupils contracting in shock. A maid ran into the room in a panic. Your Highness, where is she?" "Expand the search area." Quillian slammed his hand on the table and stood up. "No, even if we have to mobilize everyone in the entire palace. We must find Sarah." John gripped the doorknob. The entire palace was in chaos. Father must have given a kill. Order. He lowered his gaze. If I were the one who disappeared, would they search for me this desperately? Seraphina's bright smile appeared in his mind. "I like being with you, brother. Of course I want to stay by your side. No matter how I try to please Father, someone like me." John's figure stood alone in the empty hall. The rain was beating violently against the glass. "It's raining so hard." "Seraphina, where on earth did you go?" The giant man-eating flower mushroom writhed in the darkness. Its countless tentacles waved about. A bright red eye snapped open. Seraphina's voice echoed in the darkness. "Hey, have you ever had a stomachache?" The countless tentacles twitched violently. The monster's body twisted in pain. A flash of white light cut off its tentacles. Seraphina landed lightly. Flames ignited beneath her feet. A serpent of fire shot up, encircling her. She held out her hand, and the flames converged in her palm to form a sharp blade. Seraphina swung the blade of fire, drawing a perfect arc in the air. "Thanks to the Demon King's seed, my very existence is a potent poison." Seraphina stared coldly ahead. "If you eat something poisonous, you'll naturally die." A black poison rose from the scorched earth, devouring everything. Seraphina suddenly came to her senses. Right, the flowers. She looked down at the ground. The moonflowers were safe and sound. Thankfully, they weren't damaged. With these, I should be able to cure my brother's illness. Seraphina hugged the bouquet tightly. "I have to get back quickly." A guard reported to the emperor. "There are no signs of anyone breaking in. We've searched the entire palace, but we still haven't found any trace of the princess." Quillian rested his forehead in his hand, his face haggard. "Seraphina, where on earth did you go?" A voice rang out. "Father." Quillian turned around. John was standing at the door. "John." John's eyes were resolute. "I'll go look for her too." Quillian strode forward and gripped his shoulders. "John, your current condition is too dangerous. What if you collapse again? He clutched his chest, his gaze determined. I want to find Sarah, more than anyone. Quillian looked at him in silence, his eyes filled with complex emotions. Sarah is my sister. He finally showed a gentle smile. He reached out and took John's wrist. Then I'll leave it to you, my child. John nodded slightly. All right. John turned and left, his footsteps echoing in the empty hall. John. Quillian gazed at John's departing back. Without realizing it, my child has grown up. Under the curtain of rain, John rushed into the courtyard. The rain instantly soaked his clothes. He clenched his jaw, his eyes anxious. My sister has lived under the threat of kidnapping and assassination since she was a child. It all stems from that damned prophecy. Was she kidnapped, or is this another assassination attempt? Saraphina's smiling face flashed in his mind. I want to talk more with you, brother. Brother. John ran, stumbling. It's as if I'm only just starting to understand you. He clenched his fists, his breathing ragged. I absolutely cannot let anything happen to you. John stopped in the rain. He saw a familiar figure. Saraphina. Saraphina was standing in the rain. Brother. John rushed forward and grabbed Saraphina's shoulders. Where on earth have you been? Saraphina's eyes darted away. I can't lie. Did I mess things up? I just want to be a good child. Saraphina hesitated, then held out what she was hiding behind her back. This. John's gaze fell on the object in her hands. Are these flowers? Saraphina looked down. I'm sorry, brother. I went out to find medicinal herbs for you. Saraphina explained, it grows in the garden. I heard that if you boil it and drink it, your illness might get better. John's pupils contracted slightly. What? How did you know? Saraphina's eyes were flustered. She squeezed her eyes shut. Damn it. Saraphina opened her eyes and forced a bright smile. And an angel told me in a dream. John was completely stunned. What? Using a dream as an excuse again, as expected. Saraphina bit her lower lip. You must be very angry, right? Just because of a dream, I was out in the rain all night. John stared at her, rainwater sliding down his cheeks. Why? Saraphina's voice was tinged with tears. I just don't want you to be sick, brother. I want you to live a long and healthy life. I don't want you to die. John's pupils contracted violently, staring in shock at the sister before him. A voice came from the distance. John. Saraphina. Quillian arrived with the guards. Your Highness. Your Highness. He rushed forward and pulled John and Saraphina into his arms. Are you two all right? Are you hurt? Saraphina looked down. I'm sorry. I left without permission and made my brother and father. Quillian released them and gazed at Saraphina. As long as you're safe, that's all that matters. He turned to John. John. His hand rested gently on John's shoulder, his eyes soft. We'll talk later. John's expression was complicated. Let's go back first. In a palace corridor, maids were whispering. Did you hear? Prince John's health has improved a lot recently. Yes, I've never seen him look so calm and stable. I heard the flowers the princess brought back really worked. Did she really receive a revelation in her dream? Another maid answered with certainty. Of course, she's practically an angel. The prophecy of Zara must be wrong. How could someone like her become the Demon King? Saraphina walked along the red carpet, her skirt swaying. She stopped in front of John's door and knocked gently. Brother, it's me, Saraphina. A calm voice came from inside the room. Come in. The door swung open. John was sitting at a table on the balcony, sunlight spilling over him, a book in his hands. Saraphina walked in quickly. Brother. John looked up and gestured for her to sit. You're here. Sarah, over here. Saraphina sat down, her expression concerned. You're already able to get out of bed? John smiled. Father and you visit me often, don't you? More importantly, the medicine made from the prescription you mention in your dream is very effective against my mana sickness. Saraphina's eyes lit up. That's wonderful. I heard they've started researching that flower too. John held up a finger. You mean the Saraphina flower? There were no flowers in the place you mentioned, so we're using mana to cultivate them instead. I never mentioned the flower's name in my dream, yet he used my name. He's truly talented in magic and alchemy. John put down his teacup. I see. He looked at Saraphina. Would you like some tea? Or how about some cream puffs? Saraphina clasped her hands together, her eyes sparkling. I want. Then, everything I have is yours. Whatever you want to eat, whatever you want, just say the word, Saraphina. The smile on Saraphina's face froze. Saraphina stood up abruptly. No need. I'll be going now. She hastily made an excuse. I just remembered I haven't done my homework. Really? John stood up. Then I'll walk you to the study. Saraphina's smile grew wider. Really? Thank you, brother. Seraphina's heart leaped with joy. I feel like the distance between us has shortened a little more. A dark cellar with flickering candlelight. You were looking for me? Another cloaked figure stood with his back to him, his voice hoarse. What is the situation in Astoria? The cloaked man reported, the princess's reputation is improving. The prince recovered because of her dream. There are even rumors in the palace that she has received divine grace. The other cloaked man's brow furrowed. This is troublesome. Impossible. The princess is supposed to be the seed of the demon king that must be eliminated. You assured me that Astoria was under control. What exactly happened? Theodore looked up, a confident smile on his face. It's too early to worry. The princess's blessing ceremony will be held soon. Under the moonlight, a magnificent circular temple stood silently. The cloaked man stroked his chin, a knowing smile appearing. Yes, it is time. Everything will proceed according to the will of the gods, under the guidance of His Holiness, the Pope of the holy nation of Zara. John stood alone in the grand hall, his gaze fixed on the white flowers on the table. I don't like seeing you sick. I just want you to live a long and healthy life. A smile touched the corner of John's lips. You fool, even though you're so afraid of the dark. A stubborn illness called mana sickness has caused immense suffering to countless people. If we name the cure for this disease Saraphina, will it change people's opinion of you, even a little? You wandered in the garden all night for me. This is the least I can do in return. This is just a small gift. A gift to you from an insignificant girl. And, Saraphina, I'm starting to want to do more for you. Naming the flower after the princess is a good idea, but it might be misused. Change the flower's name to Saraphina. What happened to the assassin? The attendant bowed. My deepest apologies. It seems a curse spell was involved. He died during interrogation. Quillian rubbed his temples. I've had enough. Saraphina knows nothing about the assassin, does she? The attendant's voice came from below. Yes, we handled it quietly. Quillian looked down at him. The instructions regarding the investigation. The scholars have checked all historical records, but have not found any record of a Zara prophecy being overturned. The attendant presented a document. This is the investigation report. Quillian took the report, his eyes scanning the pages. His eyes gradually turned cold. Your Majesty, the princess requests an audience. A smile immediately appeared on Quillian's face. Let her in at once. The heavy palace doors slowly opened. Saraphina peeked her small head in. Father. Quillian opened his arms, a brilliant smile on his face. Come here. Saraphina answered cheerfully. Yes, father. She lifted her skirt and ran into Quillian's arms. Quillian scooped her up and held her tightly. Oh, my little princess. He gently stroked Saraphina's hair. To think someone would want to harm such a young, fragile child. Quillian's eyes became resolute. Sarah, I would do anything for you, to protect you. Quillian's gaze turned fierce, even if it means making an enemy of the entire world. If I conquer Zara, perhaps I can change the prophecy as I please. Saraphina looked up at her father. The expression on his face was wrong. It was the face of war. In my past life, father made the same choice. He began to conquer nations other than Zara, invading, one by one, the countries that tried to kill me. The final result was an all-out war between the Zara Alliance and Astoria. I really tried to stop the war. It has come to this. To stop father. Saraphina's small hand gripped Quillian's sleeve tightly. Quillian looked down at her. What is it, Sarah? Saraphina looked up. Father, I read a book recently. Quillian, holding her, beamed with pride. That's amazing, my daughter. What did it say? Saraphina's expression turned serious. It was about the history of war. I felt very sad while reading it. Quillian's smile froze on his face. Is that so? Saraphina's tone was firm. Yes, I believe war should never happen. I really hate monarchs who start wars. Quillian's body jolted. If I were really planning to go to war with Zara, father, why would you choose war? Saraphina suddenly snapped out of it. Father, I have something to do this afternoon. I'll be going now. You work hard. She gave Quillian a light kiss on the cheek. Saraphina turned and left with light steps. The palace door closed behind her. I should be safe for now. Saraphina patted her chest and let out a long sigh. But as long as assassins keep appearing, father will remain on high alert. She started walking. Or maybe I should deal with them myself first. Saraphina walked through the corridor. Suddenly, she stopped. The hall was filled with people. They all bowed to her in unison. Greetings, Your Highness the Princess. Saraphina broke into a smile. Oh my, thank you for your hard work, everyone. So many nights, even with the assassination threats. Isn't this a bit too overprotective? Father. Saraphina's gaze passed through the crowd. Who is that behind you? A knight turned around. Ah, he is a newly recruited knight. He stepped aside, and a young man with brown hair stepped forward. His name is Diorlin Grey, Your Highness. Diorlin bowed to Saraphina. It is an honor to meet you. He looked up, his eyes meeting Saraphina's. Your Highness, my knight, Diorlin. Diorlin is my destiny, my shield. Protecting the Demon King was not the right choice, and for that, he was unworthy of being called a knight. The sword whistled as it came down. Diorlin shielded Saraphina with his body. Several sharp swords pierced his back. Blood stained his pure white uniform. In a battle with Zara, the knight died protecting the Demon King. All that remained was shame. The Demon King escaped. The Demon King seed would not allow me to die. Diorlin's voice pulled her back to reality. Your Highness the Princess. Saraphina snapped back to her senses. She forced a bright smile. Ah, it's a pleasure to meet you, Sir Diorlin. I heard from Emma that you will be accompanying me to the purification ceremony. Diorlin bowed slightly. Ah, my mother told you? Yes. It seems I will be escorting you, Your Highness. Saraphina proactively held out her hand. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, falling on the two of them. Diorlin's cheeks flushed red. Your Highness. Saraphina's smile widened. I was just about to have some tea. Sir Diorlin, please join me. Diorlin was flustered. But how can I? Another knight clapped him on the shoulder. It's an order from the princess. I'll reschedule your training. Go on. Saraphina took his hand. Thank you. Quickly, Sir Diorlin. Diorlin's cheeks were slightly red. Yes, Your Highness. How have you been lately? Your Highness the Prince. John's gaze turned icy. It seems your confinement is over. The two red-haired boys trembled in fear. He walked towards the twins. I have something to ask. Which hand were you going to hit Saraphina with? The red-haired boy's face turned pale. What? A cold sneer formed on John's lips. His hand landed on the red-haired boy's shoulder and gave a light push. The boy fell backward in terror, tumbling down the stairs with a scream. The other boy was in a panic. Morgan, he turned to John. Your Highness, what are you doing? John crossed his arms. You asked what I'm doing? In any case, hurry up and call for help. Morgan tripped on his own. The boy pointed at him in disbelief. What are you talking about? Didn't you push Morgan? John retorted contemptuously. Me? He gave a slight smile. Just like you framed the princess before. Are you trying to use the same trick on me now? The boy's face was ashen. What do you mean? John's eyes sharpened. No one will believe you anyway. You're just villains who threaten the princess. I'm just a frail, diligent boy. Cold sweat dripped down the red-haired boy's face. John's voice was cold. Did you really think that harming the princess would only end in confinement? Saraphina sat alone on her bed, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her eyes were vacant. Diorlin's image appeared in her mind. Always putting my life before your own. This time, I won't let that happen again. Her gaze sharpened. The problem is the purification ceremony is coming up. If the priests see me in this state, they might discover that I'm the Demon King. I know how to control and hide my mana, but the seed, which has no resistance to holy power, could go out of control at any moment. And if I refuse to go to the temple, too many people will become suspicious. Saraphina's gaze became determined. But it's all right. I've already made a plan. The carriage procession traveled along a forest path, heading towards the distant temple. A white horse let out a soft neigh. The wheels slowly came to a stop. Your Highness, we have arrived. She lifted her skirt and elegantly stepped down. The carriage cast dappled light on her long white dress. Has the princess changed? Saraphina stood before the temple. It has been a long time. I am Princess Saraphina Delrod of Astoria. Astoria. A priest stammered in response. Welcome to the abode of the gods. Sir Diorlin, you must be nervous. After all, this is your first time here. Diorlin smiled and replied, yes, indeed. A knight whispered to Diorlin, it's a good thing you came at the right time. The princess seems a bit different this year. Last year, she was crying and saying it was too hard. Diorlin's gaze followed Saraphina's back. I see. He tightened his grip on the reins. I think it would be better if she could cry. The knight asked, confused him. What do you mean? Diorlin's gaze darkened. She's only 10 years old. The long journey must have been difficult. Holding back her tears is even more heartbreaking. The knight chuckled. Aren't you 16 this year? It seems you're completely charmed by the princess. But it's understandable. She's indeed very cute. At the temple entrance, the priest bowed. So, which knight will escort the princess inside? Diorlin swung himself off his horse. His movements were crisp and clean. I will. Diorlin Gray. He placed a hand on his chest. I have been assigned as the princess's escort for today. Saraphina wore a veil. Normally, a senior knight should be the escort, but thankfully, I asked Father to send only Diorlin. The inside of the temple was solemn and majestic. A huge pool of water shimmered. I will definitely have to undergo the holy water baptism. It's called a baptism, but it's more like water, not torture. The person is pushed into an artificial pool filled with holy water and has to hold their breath while the priests chant prayers nearby. Unable to breathe properly, you end up choking on holy water, struggling and crying that you don't want to continue. That's no longer a problem for me, but the seed is different. After entering the temple, I've been constantly affected by the holy power. Seraphina's steps faltered. Emma supported the swaying princess, Saraphina. Your Highness, are you all right? Saraphina pressed a handkerchief to her forehead. Emma, I'm a little dizzy. Emma looked at the priest. It's best to postpone the ceremony. The princess needs to rest now. The priest looked troubled. But she pretends to be sick every year. But this time, it doesn't seem to be an act. Diorlin bent down and swept Saraphina up in his arms. He held her, his expression serious. The princess is unwell. Please take us to a place where she can rest. The priests looked at each other. Finally, one of them nodded. Understood. I will take you to the inner chambers. Diorlin stood by the bedside. Emma stood guard by the head of the bed. Are you all right, Your Highness? Saraphina lay on the bed. I think I'll be fine after some rest. Emma turned to Diorlin. Diorlin, you should go out first and let the princess rest. Saraphina spoke from the bed. Emma, it's all right. I want Diorlin to stay here. Emma bowed slightly. As you wish. I will go get some cold water. Dior, if the princess's condition worsens, call for help immediately. Diorlin nodded. Yes, mother. The door closed softly. Saraphina watched his straight back, as rule-abiding as ever. She spoke softly. Sir Diorlin, please sit. Your Highness, I'm fine standing. Saraphina's voice was tinged with languor. It hurts my neck to look up at you. Sir Diorlin, are you really not going to sit down? Diorlin hesitated for a moment. Well then, since you insist. He pulled over a chair and sat down by the bed. The room fell silent. This reminds me of the old days. He always stood so straight that my attempts to surprise him always ended in failure. Saraphina broke the silence. Sir Diorlin, I hear Emma sometimes calls you Dior. Yes, he said with a slight smile. It's a nickname my family uses for me. Saraphina immediately asked, then can I call you Dior too? Diorlin was clearly taken aback. You may, as you wish, Saraphina added, and please speak to me more casually as well. Saraphina called out softly, Dior. Diorlin bowed his head in response. Yes, Your Highness. Just as Saraphina was about to speak, Dior, a loud explosion shook the entire temple violently. Flames and thick smoke shot into the sky. Diorlin shot to his feet, his eyes filled with shock and alarm. Saraphina lay on the bed, her eyes cold and sharp, without a trace of panic. The moment I've been waiting for has finally begun. Diorlin gritted his teeth. Your Highness, please forgive my rudeness. He scooped up Saraphina. We must escape immediately. Diorlin rushed out of the room, carrying her, sprinting down the empty corridor. An assassin attack, just as I expected. The temple is an inviolable place. Attacking it is madness. However, if they're ignoring the non-aggression pact, then there's no better opportunity to kill me. A loud crash came from the end of the corridor, sending debris flying. Saraphina gripped Diorlin's collar tightly. Thanks to their large-scale destruction, I don't have to endure the purification ceremony for now. Emma came rushing, lifting her skirt. Your Highness, Diorlin, she pointed the way. I know where the back door is. We can escape from there. Quickly. Diorlin, holding Saraphina, replied, Yes, mother. Emma led the way ahead. Your Highness is over there. We'll be able to exit through the back door soon. Just as they were about to arrive, the door ahead was violently blown open by a force. A massive explosion engulfed everything. As the smoke cleared, several pairs of military boots stepped onto the train's floor, advancing step by step. Emma stood in front of Diorlin, confronting the masked assassins. Diorlin held Saraphina protectively in his arms. Saraphina observed coldly. If I use magic, dealing with them will be effortless. But then my magic would be exposed. However, do you think I came here without a plan? The lead assassin ordered, deal with that woman first. One assassin moved at the command, swinging his sword toward Emma. Blood sprayed. The assassin fell in shock. Emma held a rapier, its blade gleaming with cold light. The assassins retreated in terror. What? A sword master? Could you be from Loren? Emma gave them no time to think. Her figure flashed, the blade's light sweeping past again. Another assassin fell. She turned gracefully, her robe dancing with the movement. 20 years ago, during Astoria's war with various nations, a swordsman rose to fame. But I heard he vanished after the war. Emma swung her sword energy like a rainbow repelling all the charging assassins. The assassin leader roared in disbelief. The kingdom's strongest swordsman. How could he be here? The assassin leader gritted his teeth. What kind of madman would make a sword masterwork as a nanny? Emma's figure moved like a phantom. Sword light flashed. Another assassin fell. The corridor was littered with corpses. Emma stood with her sword, while Diorlen held Saraphina in the distance. Saraphina's gaze fell on Emma. As expected of father's arrangements, facing constant assassination threats, he would never entrust the position of my closest nanny to an ordinary person. Emma flicked the blood from her sword and turned to give orders. Diorlen, take her highness and evacuate first. Diorlen, holding Saraphina, turned and ran without hesitation. Emma faced alone the more assassins surging through the corridor. She held her sword before her, eyes cold as frost. Diorlen ran through the narrow passage holding Saraphina. Two assassins blocked their path. Over here, Diorlen suddenly turned and thrust at the man. The assassin's sword swung down again. Diorlen's eyes sharpened. Blood sprayed. Your Highness, are you all right? Saraphina looked up at him from his arms, a trace of excited smile on her face. I'm fine. Diorlen breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Please endure a little longer. We can escape soon. Close your eyes. Cover your ears. More assassins appeared. Diorlen wielded his green glowing longsword, cutting down the last assassin. He held Saraphina, surrounded by corpses. A low voice echoed in his mind. Sera, if you just kill them all, everything can be easily resolved. Saraphina's hands trembled slightly. You want to protect Diorlen, don't you, Saraphina? Use your power. Saraphina hugged Diorlen tightly and closed her eyes. Shut up. Diorlen's voice carried urgency. Your Highness, the exit is... A massive blue magic circle lit up beneath his feet. A beam shot skyward. The surrounding scenery instantly distorted. Diorlen opened his eyes. Where is this? Holding Saraphina, he found himself in a desolate wasteland. Saraphina clutched his collar, her expression grave. Could it be teleportation magic? I sense an ominous aura. And this scent, his pupils constricted. It's the smell of magical beasts. Diorlen looked around. Teleportation magic? Saraphina called softly from his arms. Diorlen, can you put me down? Your arm is injured. Diorlen's hand gripped the sword hilt tightly, blood seeping through his fingers. He forced a smile. I'm fine, Your Highness. This small wound is nothing. Saraphina frowned. That expression again. She squirmed in his arms. Diorlen, I can walk on my own. Put me down quickly. Diorlen hesitated, but Saraphina's tone was commanding. If you're injured, you won't be able to protect me. Diorlen's expression froze. He was silent for a moment. Understood. He carefully set Saraphina down. Once steady, Saraphina spoke. Diorlen, rest for a moment. She crouched down, tore a strip from her skirt hem, and began carefully bandaging his arm. Diorlen protested in panic. Your Highness, your hands will get dirty. I'm really fine. No, you're not fine at all. Some things never change. He still doesn't care about himself. We just met, and he's already risking his life to protect me. One utter fool. Diorlen whispered his thanks. Thank you, Your Highness. Idiot. Now what do we do? She turned to Saraphina, her tone serious. In any case, let's find a safe place first. Please don't leave my side. Diorlen's expression was grave. A magical beast lair? I'm afraid it's not just beasts. There will be assassins too. Saraphina stood beside him. I never intended to let Diorlen fight. As soon as assassins appear, I'll knock Diorlen out, then use the escape scroll. Diorlen's voice interrupted her thoughts. Your Highness, you're remarkably calm. Oh no, am I too calm? Should I cry or act scared? What if I look suspicious? Diorlen's gaze was gentle. Whether when you arrived by carriage or when we were ambushed, in those moments, anyone else might have cried. But you held it in. Saraphina lowered her eyes. But I can't cry. I can't throw tantrums either. Who would hate that? It was the same before the war. When that strange child cried, all she got were cold, piercing stares. Diorlen's voice was gentle yet firm, shouting when frustrated, crying when in pain. These are natural human responses. It should be so. So truly, I hope you can cry or get angry. Diorlen, you've never seen me angry. If you did, you'd surely hate me. Diorlen's answer came without hesitation. I won't hate you. His eyes shone with sincerity. Even if I cry, Diorlen knelt on one knee. I won't hate you. Saraphina pressed. What if I get angry and even hit you? Still not? Yes, still not. What if I lie to you and deeply hurt you? Diorlen's smile remained warm. Even so, I will forever love you, Your Highness. Saraphina's face was shrouded in shadow. She smiled. I am sorry, Diorlen. A dream like haze. Diorlen's body lurched forward, consciousness instantly blurring. He collapsed unconscious. Saraphina stood before him, eyes cold. It might be a bit suspicious, but I'll just say I fainted too. Then Saraphina's red pupils ignited with resolute light. Saraphina slowly opened her eyes. Her red pupils reflected the assassin's figures. They emerged from the shadows. The ground began to shake. Sand churned. Something was breaking through the earth. Saraphina lowered her head, looking down at the uninvited guests. She slowly raised her eyes, gaze like ice. Get lost. At her command, the ground exploded instantly. Her face was expressionless, her voice devoid of warmth. How touching, Diorlen. After the upheaval, the dust settled. The battlefield was a scene of devastation. One assassin looked at the scene before him. Well done. Lure them to the magical beast first. Another assassin questioned. Was it the princess's power just now? Saraphina lay unconscious on the ground. Several assassins approached her. As expected, it's actually the power of a magical artifact. The necklace emitted a faint glow. The assassins surrounded the fallen Saraphina. She doesn't look dead. What should we do? Orders are dead or alive. To avoid complications, we might as well kill her directly. Bringing back a corpse is more reliable. One assassin raised his long sword, the blade glowing red. One of them patted his companion's shoulder. Hey, what are you standing around for? He suddenly coughed up blood, his body rigid. His companions watched in shock as he slowly fell. Damn it, she has other magical artifacts. A white light flashed. The assassins were instantly frozen, unable to move. Idiots, you actually believed it? The shadow of death descended. The assassins struggled. Damn it, what kind of magical artifact did she use? Saraphina's red pupils swept over them coldly. Now, how shall I deal with you? Once the seed of evil is planted, it will grow. No one knows what that seed will become after killing someone. One assassin let out a pained cry. Restrain the princess. Magical artifacts have limits. They charged at Saraphina again. In my last life, I never knew who sent you until I died. Saraphina raised her wrist. The gemstone on her bracelet glowed with an eerie light. But this time, I'll get to the bottom of it. The assassins swung their swords. One of them pointed at her wrist. That bracelet is the magical artifact. Destroy it quickly. A cunning smile curved Saraphina's lips. How interesting. Her red pupils dilated with excitement, a crazed smile on her face. How interesting. Killing you directly would be too boring. Let's play a bit more. A voice rang out. Princess Saraphina put down the magical artifact. Saraphina whipped around to see. Diorlen held hostage by an assassin, a blade at his throat. Her pupils constricted. Let him go immediately. The assassins watched her in shock. What kind of magic is this? It's definitely not just the artifact's power. An assassin swung his blade closer. Saraphina dodged sideways. A cut opened on her cheek. You heard him. An invisible force exploded outward from her center, instantly tearing apart the surrounding assassins. Flesh flew. I must kill you. The surviving assassins let out shrill screams. Please spare me. You want to kill me. So what's wrong with me killing you? No matter what I do, this world hates me. So you all should just die. Diorlen's trembling voice came through. Your Highness, Princess. Diorlen's voice pierced through the flames. Saraphina, Princess. Saraphina snapped back to awareness. I must kill you. But why? Why does it feel so familiar? A face she once vowed to protect surfaced before her eyes. Diorlen. She staggered back a step, looking around. Corpses everywhere, blood flowing like rivers. I've been discovered. Saraphina's pupils trembled with fear. What should I do? Diorlen walked towards Saraphina. He called softly, Your Highness. Saraphina's whole body trembled. Diorlen grasped her hand. Saraphina looked up in shock. He asked with concern, Are you hurt? Saraphina's eyes darted away. You saw everything, didn't you? What I did to those people? Diorlen's gaze was gentle yet firm. I said before. He knelt on one knee, solemnly pledging, "No matter what you're like, I will protect you." Diorlin gazed at Saraphina. "No matter what happens, I will forever admire you. Because of you, I'm alive. You gave me my life, so I will dedicate my life to you, my savior." Seraphina's eyes moistened. "I forgot." Saraphina hugged him tightly. "I forgot there was still someone who believed in me." He gently stroked her back. Saraphina buried her face in his chest. "I almost killed him with my own hands." Seraphina's eyes grew resolute. "I must not let tragedy repeat. This time, no more bloodshed because of me. Use this world-destroying power to protect the one I love." A voice spoke. "Thanks to Lady Grey, my daughter returned safely. You've worked hard." Emma bowed deeply. "I only did my duty." "Your Majesty." Quillian pushed a document forward. "I've decided to promote Knight Diorlin and give him a raise. Your family will also be rewarded." Emma declined respectfully. "I only did my duty. I dare not seek rewards." Quillian chuckled. "Then let's see whose will is stronger, yours or mine." Emma persisted. "Your Majesty, please reconsider. I must ask you to withdraw this order." Quillian's tone was unyielding. "So what will you do? Accept it or throw it away? But I'm determined to reward the one who saved my daughter. Additionally, I appoint Knight Diorlin as the princess's personal knight." Emma bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Quillian's gaze sharpened. "This you don't refuse." Emma raised her head. "My son is destined to become the finest knight in the court. He's fully qualified to protect the princess." Quillian revealed a slight smile. "Since you say so, no one will dare question it." Quillian's expression darkened. "But, Lady Grey, the captive we worked so hard to keep alive is dead." The scene yielded no useful clues. "Do you have any findings?" Emma's expression was grave. As expected, they were all top experts. Normally, their methods should have left traces, but they erased everything. Except for one doubt, they reached the back door too quickly. Quillian's eyes grew sharp. "The temple's layout is top secret. The maze also has multiple magical protections." He stroked his chin thoughtfully. "That's right. If they could find a route that quickly." Emma's expression darkened. Quillian's fingers drummed heavily on the armrest. "Then it means we have a traitor among us." Meanwhile, Saraphina lay in bed. Her body felt as if being torn apart in agony. "The seed only erupted once, and my body is already collapsing. Its will is stronger than I imagined. I naively thought that if I lived quietly, it wouldn't grow. I've lost control twice. Once when the twins attacked me, and once when wounded by assassins. If there's a next time, can I still suppress it? The more I use magic, the more I feel myself sliding into the abyss. I can't go on like this. I must find a way." Anyway, a water droplet fell into still water, creating ripples. Seraphina's eyes flew open. She sat up abruptly in bed. "That's right." The seed weakened in the temple. Seraphina braced her hands on the pillow, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. If it reacts to holy power, then holy relics or holy water might work. Holy relics and holy water surfaced in her mind. Though not as good as a real divine crown, it's still. Wait, Seraphina's thoughts halted. If there's always someone with powerful holy power nearby, wouldn't that solve everything? Her pupils suddenly constricted. "That's it. I just need to get married." Seraphina clenched her fists, a brilliant smile blooming on her face. A bag of cookies dropped to the floor. Seraphina lay on the bed, looking toward the door. John stood frozen. "Sarah, you're getting married?" John's scream seemed to tear through the sky, shaking the distant castle walls. "John, is this true?" Quillian clasped his hands, brow furrowed. "Sera." John covered his face with his hands, letting out a long sigh. "That is getting married." Time rewound to several hours earlier. John sat by Seraphina's bedside, expression serious. "So, the demon king seed inside you has been talking to you?" Seraphina sat on the bed, eyes dim. "Yes, I feel I must obey that voice." John's expression grew urgent. "Have you told anyone else?" Seraphina replied quietly. "Only Diorlin, who was with me that day, knows. I made him swear to keep it secret." John breathed a sigh of relief. "That's good. But still," he frowned. "Even so, isn't marriage a bit?" Seraphina recalled, "Before I was reborn, Zara kept proposing. I don't know if it was to restrain Astoria or to monitor me. Gabriel, Winnetman. Facing Gabriel alone is harder than dealing with a dozen priest charges." Seraphina's eyes grew resolute. "If someone that powerful could be by my side, even just staying there." "Brother." John's teacup spilled water. He stared wide-eyed in shock. "Ah, well, yes. Marriage might really be a bit much." Seraphina smiled helplessly. Seems the shock is greater than expected. This is bad. Let's try holy relics and the divine crown first. Seraphina leaned against the headboard. If they really get married. Her eyes darkened. Will Castelin also come to the engagement ceremony? Seraphina's memory flashed back. She was covered in blood, smiling through tears. Castelin stood in the distance, saying something. What was he trying to say then? The hero who killed the Demon King and saved the world. But his expression held no joy, no relief, no peace either. The grand white palace bathed in sunlight. Seraphina clutched a cross tightly, holy relic in hand, eyes closed, expression focused. John clenched his fists, watching her tensely. Seraphina slowly lowered the holy relic and exhaled. She shook her head. I can barely feel it anymore. John held his forehead, letting out a sigh. Even this doesn't work. I thought it would help. Seraphina looked at the holy relics scattered on the floor. This is already the strongest holy relic we brought. Sorry I couldn't help at all. I tried searching for information related to the Demon King, but it's all trivial stuff. Holy relics are just stopgaps. What's important is eradicating the seed itself. But thanks to you, brother, I found that the Demon King appeared 500 years ago. A glimmer flashed in Seraphina's eyes. The Holy Knights said they defeated the Demon King. Then Zara must have intelligence from that time. With their heir, Gabriel, no? Seraphina's expression grew grave. Brother, I might marry into Zara. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Sarah, it's father. May I come in? Seraphina quickly responded, yes, please come in. Quillian pushed the door open, expression concerned. Is everything all right? Of course. There are hundreds of knights protecting me. Seraphina forced a bright smile. Yes, father. Quillian's expression softened. That's good. I came to give you something. He handed over an object wrapped in white cloth. A purple energy emanated from Seraphina's chest, suppressed by the object's light. Seraphina clutched her chest in shock. Father, what is this? The seed's power weakened. Quillian unwrapped the white cloth. He smiled and suggested, want to try it? Seraphina nodded and stepped forward. She draped the outer robe over herself, hands gently caressing the fabric. John's eyes widened. This is too beautiful. Quillian's cheeks flushed slightly. Indeed, Seraphina, wearing the holy robe, radiated a soft glow. So adorable. She spun excitedly. Wearing it directly makes the effect even stronger. Are there more clothes like this? Quillian's voice was somewhat muffled. I'm afraid it's difficult. This is a gift sent when Zara proposed. This robe once belonged to the Pope. There's no second one in the world. John's eyes dimmed. Lost in thought, a light flashed in his eyes. He whirled around. Father, I have an idea. No need to actually marry. John raised a finger, eyes sharp. There's still a way to get more holy relics from Zara. Inside the Grand Palace, knights lined both sides. The atmosphere was solemn. Duerlin walked forward slowly, handsome features, resolute gaze. Duerlin knelt on one knee before Seraphina, movements graceful and respectful. Seraphina smiled and extended her hand, picking up a medal. Duerlin bowed his head, voice steady and clear. Duerlin Grey, Knight of Astoria. Seraphina pinned a cross medal onto his chest. As proof of your bravery and loyalty, I award you this medal. The medal gleamed in the light. Quillian and John stood to the side, quietly observing the ceremony for Duerlin Grey of the Grey family. Seraphina lightly tapped Duerlin's shoulders with her sword. Do you swear your loyalty to me? As my knight, will you protect me for life? Duerlin looked up, his gaze incredibly devout. Yes, I swear to be faithful until death and even beyond. A brilliant smile bloomed on Seraphina's face. Only you are my one and only knight. Once the ceremony ended, Seraphina immediately collapsed onto the sofa. She let out a long sigh. That's much better. Duerlin stood nearby, bowing with a smile. You've worked hard, your highness. Seraphina gestured to him. Dior, you come and rest for a bit too. Duerlin maintained his posture, his expression respectful. I'm Fina. As your knight, I should stand guard here. A flash of mischief crossed Seraphina's eyes. But I need a pillow. Can I borrow your lap? Besides, it's easier to deal with. Got attackers if you're right beside me, isn't it? Duerlin was slightly stunned. Am I really allowed to be that close to you? Seraphina urged him without hesitation. Of course. Come here. Diorlin sat down on the edge of the sofa. Saraphina lay down, resting her head on his lap. She looked up at him. Dior, I'm truly happy that you've become my knight. Diorlin lowered his eyes. I'm simply beyond grateful and honored. I don't know if I'm worthy of such a distinction. Saraphina spoke firmly. Of course you are. You are my only knight. Diorlin's cheeks flushed red. Thank you, your highness. I'm willing to protect you with my life. It seems the suitors will soon start arriving at our door. Diorlin asked softly, Are you all right with that, your highness? Saraphina waved her hand. I'm Fina. This is caused by magic. There's no other way. Of course, others will probably think this is just a political move. We're not actually arranging a marriage. We're just gathering suitors. John explained the plan to Quillian. If we make them compete under the pretext of marriage, with the winner getting to marry the princess, Zara will likely send a holy relic as a gift of goodwill. Quillian stroked his chin, lost in thought, considering the assassination threat. Inviting outsiders was a bit worrying, but leaving the demon's seed unchecked was even more dangerous. Marriage aside, if the world found out about Sarah's demonic power, it would only torment her more. John's gaze fell on Saraphina in the distance. Just because of a prophecy, she was facing death threats. He clenched his fists, his eyes resolute. I will never let her get married. Never. Saraphina lay with her head on Diorlin's lap, speaking softly. As long as we can find a way to control the demonic power, we can call off the engagement at any time. Diorlin's brow furrowed slightly. I'm worried Zarazare won't give up so easily. Lying on her back, Saraphina casually asked why not. Diorlin lowered his gaze. Because anyone in the world who sees you will instantly fall in love with you. Saraphina suddenly burst into laughter. But there are also thousands of people who, simply because I exist, don't want to kill me. The affection I receive now is just an illusion because I'm hiding my true self. But I know the truth. The moment I show a single flaw, the moment they discover my demonic power, that the entire world will see me as a threat. Saraphina's hands clenched silently. I don't believe in this kind of false affection. Footsteps echoed. A young man with short, silver-white hair approached. He was dressed in fine clothes, his blue eyes clear and serene. The young man knocked lightly on the door. A voice from inside said, Come in. The door swung open, and Castelin walked in slowly. An old man in a purple robe smiled. Ah, Castelin has arrived. Gabriel, we'll talk later. Gabriel stood in the center of the grand hall. Welcome. Castelin, I'm getting married soon, so I called you here to talk. Castelin's gaze shifted slightly. So it's true. Astoria has accepted Brother Gabriel's proposal. Gabriel corrected him. Yes, but strictly speaking, it's as a candidate for the engagement. They've rejected all previous proposals, but for some reason, they've decided to invite suitors this time. Gabriel crossed his arms. For us, this is a good opportunity. Castelin looked him straight in the eye. But don't you already have someone you love? Gabriel's expression faltered. My personal affairs are irrelevant. We are the heirs of Zara and also members of the clergy. We must prioritize the greater good. Castelin suggested. Then why don't I go in your place? Gabriel was stunned. What? I have no marriage prospects, nor anyone I love. Castelin, if you're planning to sacrifice yourself for me, this is just a political marriage. It doesn't have to be you. More importantly, Castelin placed a hand on his chest, a determined flame lighting up his blue eyes. I want to go there. In the magnificent grand hall, guests were gathered, the tense atmosphere suffocating. A young man in splendid black attire, the sixth prince of Tolerantia, Benjamin. He took a deep breath. Finally, I get to meet that notorious little devil. Legend had it that a demon king lived in Astoria, a child of brutal nature. It was said that a torture chamber was built beneath the palace for the princess. Some even said she was a monster, half human, half beast. The rumors were outrageous, but she did seem to be a difficult character. Benjamin stroked his chin, lost in thought. I came here. But I have no expectations for this marriage. Among Princess Saraphina's suitors, we must find the one who is truly suitable. A blond young man smiled. He was the prince of the Sun Kingdom, Tanrekra, Romeo. The 4 suitors we have chosen will stay in the palace for 1 year. A white-haired young man had a serious expression. He was the prince of the Desert Kingdom, Azar John. They must prove their worth. The master of ceremonies announced loudly, His Majesty, King Quillian, and Her Highness, Princess Saraphina, have arrived. Footsteps sounded as Quillian entered the grand hall, carrying Saraphina. Saraphina leaned in Quillian's arms, a blush on her cheeks. A gasp went through the crowd. Benjamin watched the girl. She looked cute, but her personality was notoriously awful. Behind that lovely face, she must have done many bad things. Saraphina slid down from Quillian's arms and lifted her skirt slightly. The pure white wings on her back slowly unfurled. She smiled and looked around at everyone. Thank you all for coming from so far away. I hope you have a pleasant stay in Astoria. The crowd stirred again. Oh my God, wow, she's so cute. Saraphina maintained her sweet smile. What a bunch of easily fooled guys. They're clearly here for Astoria, not for me. They're probably all gritting their teeth and enduring it. Her gaze swept over the crowd, searching for a certain figure. But where is Gabriel? Saraphina looked around, her chest glowing faintly. A steward announced loudly, "The delegation from Zara has arrived." Clergymen in white robes entered the grand hall. The one in the lead apologized to the king. "Our apologies for being late. The carriage had an accident on the way." Seraphina's gaze passed over the crowd and landed on a figure. Seraphina's pupils contracted. Castelin. Saraphina gripped her skirt tightly. Why is he here? Wasn't it supposed to be Gabriel? Quillian noticed something was wrong with her. Sarah, what is it? Saraphina forced a smile. It's nothing. I heard the suitor from Zara was 17, but he looks younger than I expected. Quillian explained in a low voice. Gabriel couldn't make it. He suddenly fell ill. They said Castelin would come in his place, and I agreed. I was originally expecting Gabriel. Seraphina's thoughts drifted. But now, a vision of the future appeared in her mind. Herself in a wedding dress, standing side by side with a silver-haired man. Do I have to marry Castelin? Castelin radiated a powerful, holy energy, strong enough to suppress the seed inside me even from this distance. Then why? Why do I feel so upset? Castelin raised his head, his blue eyes meeting hers. The palace corridor was vast and ornate. Maids gathered, whispering among themselves. I wonder who the princess will end up marrying. All those suitors earlier were so distinguished. A maid holding a vase recalled excitedly that Prince Romeo from the Ocean Kingdom is such a handsome boy. He'll definitely be even more handsome when he's older. Another maid chimed in. The prince from the Desert Kingdom is also very cute, isn't he? Anyone can see he fell for the princess at first sight. The Prince of Tolerantia is also very eye-catching. They're all the cream of the crop. But the maids exchanged glances. Don't you think? Her Highness the Princess seems most interested in Prince Castelin. Benjamin sat on a sofa, his legs crossed, and let out a disdainful snort. I'm the youngest in the family, with no status. I must make this marriage happen. He was the prince of the Alchemy Kingdom. Tolerantia, the sixth prince, Benjamin. As the youngest son, his chances of inheriting the throne were extremely slim. The end of his life would, at best, be as a nobleman in name only. Benjamin stood up. This is my only chance. He pressed a finger to his lower lip. The princess is only 10 years old. A calculating glint flashed in his eyes. If I can become her husband, controlling her will grant me immense power. Benjamin walked to a wooden box and slowly opened it. Inside, bottles of purple potion were neatly arranged. I must be chosen as her fiancé. At any cost. He picked up a bottle of potion. The label read, juice potion. Sunlight filled the garden. John picked up his teacup. Sarah, it feels like we haven't had tea together in a long time. Saraphina held her cup with both hands. Yes, it would have been nice if Father had come too. It's a shame. John leaned forward in response. I know. He said he would definitely come today. He probably has more diplomatic matters to handle because of his suitors. He took a light sip of tea, but still, this letter feels a bit redundant. John looked at her with concern. Sarah, have you been tired lately? Is anything bothering you? Saraphina shook her head. I'm Euphina, but I'm more worried about you, brother. You. John had dark circles under his eyes. You've been staying up for days again. He gripped the armrest of his chair. But we only have 1 year. If we can't find a solution by then. The initial plan was to find a way to improve my condition during the year the suitors are staying. But I'm not actually very hopeful. After all, it's the power of a demon king. Can we really find a way in just 1 year? I have to. John clasped his hands, his expression darkening. I have to solve this as soon as possible. That way, Sarah won't have to get married, if that guy has any impure thoughts about her. Anyway, I just need the holy power. I might as well just... and lock him up. Saraphina was startled by him. Brother. He quickly waved his hands. Maybe we shouldn't talk about the suitors anymore. John suddenly. Sorry, time is too short to be wasted on unpleasant topics. Saraphina smiled. You know, right? My marrying Castelin isn't because I actually like him. John's gaze darkened. I know, Sarah, that's exactly why it hurts me more. To be honest, I want to throw every man who approaches you into the dungeon. But if you truly fall in love with someone, how could I go against your wishes? But because of your condition, watching you, at such a young age, have to marry someone you don't love. But it's painful for me. That's why I want to find a solution as soon as possible to set you free. John reached out and gently covered Saraphina's hand with his. Our dear Sarah. John gazed at her. I hope you can find someone who truly loves you. Someone you truly love. The whole world wants me dead, but there is someone I want to love, and someone I hope will love me. Of course, you won't leave us. We'll have him marry into our family. He held out his pinky finger. Promise me, okay? Saraphina beamed. Okay. Their pinkies hooked together tightly. Saraphina's eyes sparkled. Whether I get married or not, I want to stay with you and father forever. Looks like I can't keep my pinky finger. Absolutely not. Don't you have things to do this afternoon? I have classes too. Get up, brother. She pushed John's back. John turned to leave. Then I'll come see you again next time, Sarah. Saraphina waved her hand. Today was fun. John's figure gradually disappeared into the distance. Saraphina said to Emma beside her, let's go back. Emma. The moment she turned, her steps faltered. Emma noticed something was wrong. Princess, is something amiss? Saraphina shook her head. No. It's nothing. She touched her chin. Strange. I feel like someone was watching me. But Emma didn't say anything. Maybe it was just my imagination. A palace window opened quietly. Castelin stood by the window, the breeze stirring the curtains. He looked down at the garden pavilion, his gaze locked on the pink figure. Castelin, the princess of Astoria will destroy the world. She must be eliminated before that seed sprouts. His blue eyes reflected the image of Saraphina turning around, her confused backward glance. Castelin's figure retreated into the shadows. A magnificent church was bathed in holy light. This is the path chosen for the sake of the world. Never forget. An elder placed his hand on the boy's shoulder, his voice solemn and gentle. It is our duty to punish evil. A surface of crimson water. The hem of a pure white wedding dress dipped into it. Bare feet stepped onto the cold ground, leaving bloody footprints with every step. In the shadows, the silhouettes of countless swords were faintly visible. The bride's figure moved through them. She held a bouquet, dressed in a pure white wedding dress, walking forward step by step. Saraphina looked up, her red eyes vacant and lifeless, like an exquisite doll. Her gaze was lowered slightly, without a ripple of emotion. A hand reached out to her, a silent invitation. Castelin, dressed in a white formal suit, waited quietly, his blue eyes unreadable. Saraphina reached out her hand, her fingertips lightly touching his palm. In the magnificent church, petals fell silently. Applause rang out as the guests offered their blessings to the newlyweds. Castelin took Saraphina's hand, and the two stood side by side. The blade of a guillotine hung high, replacing the holy altar. Saraphina knelt before it, Castelin standing behind her, expressionless. She lowered her head, her long pink hair sliding over her shoulders. Castelin reached out and pulled the rope of the guillotine. The blade fell with a crash. The world plunged into darkness. Saraphina woke up with a start, her nightgown soaked in cold sweat. She gasped for air. Her heart pounded like a drum. She clutched the fabric over her chest, trying to calm her breathing. It was a dream. After returning to the past, I haven't dreamed even once. Saraphina clenched the bedsheets, her knuckles turning white from the force. What was that dream? Sunlight streamed into the room through the window. Emma was combing Saraphina's long hair. In the mirror, her expression was still dazed. While combing, Emma reminded her, this morning, you have an appointment with Lord Castelin in the tea room. Saraphina's thoughts were pulled back to reality. All right, I have a private meeting with Castelin today. The atmosphere is so tense. Before my regression, the country that put the most pressure on me was Zara. It's highly likely there's an assassin hidden in their delegation. I'm not angry, nor do I feel betrayed. I should even praise them. After all, wanting to kill me is a wise decision. To be honest, I like to just let them be. But if I die, I'll just regress again, so I have to be careful. An attendant's voice sounded from outside the door. Her Highness, Princess Saraphina, has arrived. Saraphina took a deep breath and pushed open the heavy door. In the bright tea room, Castelin sat alone at a table, his back to the door. He turned his head at the sound, his blue eyes looking over coolly. Castelin gave a slight bow. Greetings to the Princess of Astoria. Saraphina gave a brilliant smile. Thank you for coming, Lord Castelin. The two sat down at the tea table. An attendant came forward to pour tea. Castelin raised a hand to stop him. I only need a glass of water. The attendant bowed slightly. Very well, I understand. Saraphina asked curiously, do you not like tea? If you prefer something else, we also have milk. Castelin answered with his eyes closed. No, thank you. I must abide by the doctrine of simplicity. Saraphina had a realization. Oh, right. The education of a Zara priest, a life of purity and humility, abstaining from indulgence and greed. She looked at the exquisite tower of desserts on the table. She fell into thought. Saraphina asked tentatively, then you don't like desserts either? Castelin replied calmly, I don't know. I've never had any. He's only 12 years old. Isn't that too strict? The tea room was silent, with only the soft clink of a teacup being set down. I can't stand this silence anymore. Saraphina forced a smile. By the way, I heard Lord Gabriel was supposed to come. I didn't expect it to be you. I was surprised. Castelin replied faintly. Is that so? Saraphina continued the awkward conversation. It must have been difficult for you, coming in his place on such short notice. Castellin's reply was still brief. It was fine. Is he some kind of doll? Having tea like this is practically torture. Saraphina racked her brain for a topic. The weather is lovely today, isn't it? Have you been to the palace garden? A hint of confusion finally appeared on Castellin's face. No. A glint flashed in Saraphina's eyes. She smiled and suggested, then shall we go for a walk together? The two walked along a path in the palace garden, sunlight dappling through the leaves. Just looking at the flowers in the garden makes me feel alive again. Saraphina secretly glanced at Castelin beside her. The way he is now is almost identical to how he was before the regression. No, what am I thinking? Back then, though we only met a few times on the battlefield. Castelin suddenly stopped walking. Your Highness, Saraphina jumped. Is something the matter? Castelin turned around, his blue eyes looking directly at her. There is something I would like to ask you. Castelin asked in a calm tone, of all your suitors, who do you most want to marry? Saraphina's breath caught, her red eyes widening slightly. Who asks that kind of question to someone's face? She gave an awkward laugh. Well, they're all very good people. It's hard to choose. Castelin pressed, what qualities do you value? Saraphina stam eret A kind person, I suppose. His Majesty said you should marry the person who sends you flowers every day. Castellin's tone turned cold. Is that so? He turned and walked away, leaving a resolute back. Saraphina watched Castellin's retreating back. It seems he really doesn't like me. Oh well, he's just a 12-year-old boy. His family must have forced him to come. Saraphina returned to her room and collapsed onto the bed, exhausted. Diorlin rushed in. Your Highness, are you all right? Is it a side effect of the holy power? Lying on her side, Saraphina said it's not that. It's true that when Castelin is near, the seed is much quieter. The pain also lessens a lot. Diorlin knelt on one knee, speaking softly. I hope this can make you feel a little better, Your Highness. Saraphina's gaze fell on the white daisy in his hand. Diorlin smiled and handed her the flower. Saraphina took the flower. Thank you, Dio. I'll treasure it. Diorlin's smile grew gentler. Next time, I'll bring you a whole bouquet. Saraphina responded softly, MHM. Thank you. She brought the flower to her nose, closing her eyes and quietly inhaling its faint fragrance. Outside the window, the sun was bright and green leaves swayed in the breeze. Saraphina yawned. Dio, I want to rest for a bit. I'm so sleepy. Diorlin gently lifted her, tucked her into bed, and stood quietly by the bedside. He gazed at her sleeping face, a smile playing on his lips. Please rest well, Your Highness. Saraphina lay quietly, her breathing steady, as if she had fallen into a deep dream. In the darkness, blood-red clouds churned. A deep voice sounded. Sura, it's been hard, hasn't it? A pitch-black hand reached for her. You don't need to pretend to be noble. A dark silhouette whispered above her. Why willingly swallow poison? Why endure everything? Everything has been prepared for you. Shut up. Don't suppress it. You have the power to obtain everything. I said shut up. My head hurt so much. A black hand gripped her throat. She couldn't breathe. What's the point of this pathetic performance? Saraphina's pupils contracted violently. He is a danger to you. The silhouette dissipated in a white light, turning into nothing. What is this? This pleasant energy. Saraphina sat up abruptly in bed. Dio, was someone just here? Diorlin's voice came. Your Highness, are you awake? Saraphina stood up unsteadily. I know this energy. It's holy power. She pushed open the door. and saw that familiar figure. Castelin. Castelin bowed slightly. Greetings, Your Highness. I heard you were asleep, so I was about to leave. Saraphina quickly waved her hand. It's all right, I just woke up. But what are you doing here? Castelin held out a bouquet of lilies to her. Saraphina's gaze fell on the flowers. She clasped her hands in front of her, her fingertips pressing together slightly. Are these for me? Why? Castelin lowered his eyes. You said you wouldn't marry anyone unless they were the person who sent you flowers every day. Saraphina's smile froze on her face, her pupils dilating in shock. What? So, Castelin is giving me flowers because he wants to marry me. Saraphina stared blankly at the vase on the table. Emma walked in. Do you not like the lilacs? Saraphina raised her hand, her fingertips lightly touching her lower lip. No, it's not that. I just don't understand Lord Castellan's intentions. He's been sending flowers every day since then. Saraphina pointed at the bouquets on the table. The types are never the same. They're all bought from flower shops outside the capital. Emma said with a smile, It seems Lord Castelin likes you very much, Your Highness. But at the tea party, he's always expressionless. It's like talking to a portrait. A maid entered. Your Highness. She bowed respectfully. His Majesty summons you. Saraphina looked up, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. Quillian opened his arms, his face beaming with a brilliant smile. Saraphina joyfully threw herself into his arms. Father. Quillian lifted Saraphina high, his laughter echoing in the room. Saraphina looked up. So, what did you want to see me for? It seemed like you were discussing something important with your secretary. Quillian's expression turned serious. He knelt on one knee to be at eye level with Saraphina. Sarah, what do you think about sending Zera's delegation back to their country? Saraphina's eyes filled with confusion. Quillian continued to explain. When you were attacked at the temple, Emma testified that the assailants moved suspiciously fast within the temple grounds. We suspected there was an inside man among the clergy, so we launched an investigation. As it turns out, a priest from Zera was stationed there. Saraphina's pupils contracted sharply. This means Zera is very likely the mastermind behind the temple attack. So was Zera after all. They directly tore up the temple's non-aggression pact. Their hostility is more severe than I expected. I must prepare for the worst. It's just like my view of Castelin. Even before the regression, he was famous as a holy knight who punished heretics. But now he's just a 12-year-old boy, so I thought the possibility was low. But what if Castelin is that assassin? For the gods to use a child as a killer. Saraphina's eyes turned icy. A chill rose from the bottom of her heart. Just how insane is Zera? Quillian's voice was laced with worry. We will investigate Zera more thoroughly. So perhaps it would be best to cancel the engagement. Suha. He gently took Saraphina's hand, his eyes full of pity. But Saraphina showed a faint smile. She closed her eyes, seeming to think of a better plan. She placed her hand on the back of Quillian's. She spoke softly now. If the clergy attacks me here, wouldn't that be ironclad proof? Quillian's eyes sharpened. He immediately understood her intention. I can't use you as bait, Sarah. Saraphina looked at him firmly. I'm not bait. I have father and my brother with me. Emma and Diorlen are here too. Is there a safer place in the world than here? Even if there's an insider, they wouldn't dare act rashly in this palace. Quillian's profile was filled with sorrow. He reached out and pulled Saraphina into his arms, holding her tight. I don't understand. Why do you have to go through all this? You were just born here. That's all. This sorrow is bottomless. This feeling is too immense and precious for me to bear. But Father, I would kneel for your sorrow, just because of my existence. Too many people have died. My father, my brother, and countless others who nearly lost their lives. I was a child who should never have been born. I'm not worthy of your sorrow. To be honest, I would have been happy to die at the hands of Zera's assassins. But even if I die again, I will only return. The seed will only grow faster. So I must not die. Saraphina's hand tightly gripped Quillian's clothes. Only by breaking this cycle of regression will I truly die. Only then. I have memories from before my regressions, including state secrets of other countries, information on various people, and even knowledge. Summoning the other 3 suitors was just a smokescreen to cover Castellin's existence. But that doesn't mean the suitors are useless. Saraphina walked down a bright corridor, a guard following closely behind. Now that I know Zera's target is me, this tea party has become even more important. I must make good use of him to keep Castelin safely by my side. On the terrace, Benjamin sat alone, 2 maids standing behind him with their hands clasped. Benjamin looked up. He stood to greet her. Your Highness, you've come at just the right time. Seraphina looked at him. As an adult, his gaze is quite fierce, but as a child, Benjamin was rather cute. He is Benjamin, the sixth prince of the powerful nation of Tolerantia. The two sat opposite each other at a round table. A maid served them tea and snacks. The teacup was set down gently, making a crisp sound. Seraphina smiled and spoke. "Prince Benjamin, are you drinking coffee again today? It seems you really like coffee." Benjamin was silent, his eyes devoid of emotion. Benjamin spoke eloquently. Vandella recently discovered a new trade route. The supply of coffee beans has increased. This will not only affect coffee, but the entire international trade. Seraphina held her teacup. Here he goes again. I want to have a light conversation and get closer, but he's always talking about economics and royal studies. Seraphina took a sip of tea. We've talked so many times, yet our relationship remains at a standstill. But I must get close to Benjamin. Only then can I obtain the weapon he possesses. Seraphina put down her teacup. She decided to change the subject. Prince Benjamin, the weather is so nice today. Shall we go for a walk? She clasped her hands, her smile bright. How about a game of hide and seek or playing house? A cold smile touched Benjamin's lips. Hide and seek? You say hide and seek? To resort to such a method at this point. His eyes became sharp. Benjamin crossed his arms, looking at her coldly. I know the intention behind your suggestion, Your Highness. Seraphina's pupil shrank. You must want something from me. Benjamin's voice was devoid of warmth. Since I already know, please be direct. He said he knows everything. Did he see through my intention to build a friendly relationship? Benjamin's lips curved upwards. Proposing a game of hide and seek is to test my physical and tactical abilities, isn't it? He opened his arms confidently, his smile bright. What? Seraphina was completely stunned, her mind blank. Benjamin scoffed. Your Highness, your act of feigning ignorance is quite good. You don't need to make such excuses. I fully understand your intentions. In his past life, Benjamin was known as the Lone Beast. Although he was only the sixth prince, he carved a bloody path for himself with his talent for alchemy and his cunning. To achieve his goals, he poisoned the cups of his kin, stepping over their corpses to advance. A complete and utter beast. But Seraphina looked at him expressionlessly. In my eyes, he's more like a kitten. To put it nicely, perhaps a lynx. Benjamin was full of confidence. Keeping the suitors by your side for a year means you'll be evaluating us. I've long known you were testing me in secret. Seraphina lifted her teacup and took a silent sip. Last time you offered me cocoa, you were testing my knowledge of Tolerantia's sugar industry and trade, weren't you? No, I just gave it to you because I thought it was delicious. And proposing to play house was to assess my views on family? No, I just wanted to get closer to you. You don't need to test me in such ways. I've seen through your intentions. Let's talk openly. This guy, I can't tell if he's sharp or foolish. But on second thought, this might be a normal reaction. Summoning suitors for a competition naturally suggests some kind of evaluation. So stop this ridiculous act. You rejected all proposals, yet you suddenly summon candidates. It must be for some internal political reason. Your Highness, are you in a situation where you need external help? I don't know the specifics, but you will surely choose the person most useful to you. So Benjamin's eyes burned. Choose me. He extended his hand, his smile confident and sincere. Marry me, Your Highness. Just as you will use me, I will use you. Seraphina watched him quietly, her expression complex. Benjamin placed his hand on his chest. I will become. He ran his fingers through his hair, combing it back. I will become your most useful tool. You say you'll be my tool. She held her teacup, her posture elegant. But you haven't said what you can give me. I'd like to know if you can really give me what I want. Benjamin smoothed his hair. It seems you're not going to pretend anymore. I passed your test. Seraphina put down her teacup. Not really, but let's just say you have. She leaned forward. Her hands rested on the table. The location of a mana stone deposit. I will tell you its location. A glint appeared in Benjamin's eyes. Information that not even the Tolerantian royal family knows. Seraphina's gaze sharpened. Mana stones. A crystalline mana stone appeared. It's used in alchemy, magic, and many other fields, but its production is scarce, so its trading price is extremely high. This is undoubtedly a gift more precious than any gem mine. Benjamin spread his hands. I'll take half the output, and the other half is yours, Your Highness. Seraphina scoffed. Is that all? Benjamin thought she was bargaining. If you're not satisfied with the split, we can negotiate. It's not about the split. Seraphina put down her teacup. I'm not particularly interested in the information about the mana stone deposit itself. Benjamin was incredulous. Your Highness, do you not know the value of mana stones? Saraphina stated calmly, No, I know their value very well. It's just that we already have plenty, because before my regressions, I had already memorized the locations of all the mana stone veins. Wars were nearly fought over them. Saraphina pursed her lips. Even if you tell me the location, you don't have the ability to mine it now, do you, Prince? Isn't that why you're selling the information to us? Because mining requires a lot of manpower and equipment. Cold sweat beaded on Benjamin's forehead. Saraphina pointed at him. You said you'd be a good tool for me, but you don't seem very competent. Benjamin took a deep breath. He placed his hand on his chest. It seems I underestimated you, Your Highness. I apologize. In a mutually beneficial relationship, if there's a disparity in value, one must present a stronger card. Then, Benjamin placed a parchment on the table. As a sign of my sincerity, I will share this with you. Benjamin's expression was solemn. This is an alchemical formula for creating a homunculus. He started making homunculi at such a young age. What a remarkable fellow. Saraphina looked at the formula. A high-level alchemy for artificially creating life. Homunculi are born with exceptional skills. Once created, they can be useful in many ways. Saraphina pushed the parchment back. It's impressive, but this isn't what I need either. Benjamin's pupil shrank. What? Saraphina picked up the parchment, her finger pointing to a passage. Look here. Saraphina rested her chin on her hand. The formula is good, but I think it can be improved. If you replace limonite with pearl, the stability will be higher. Benjamin looked at her in astonishment. Saraphina sipped her tea leisurely. I'm not sharing this out of kindness. Her eyes suddenly turned icy. This is a threat. Everything you have, I have, and I am far superior to you. So hand over everything you have. This is my gentle threat. Benjamin looked down at the parchment, muttering to himself. You're right. A biogem like pearl is indeed more suitable than limonite. Saraphina stood up. A brilliant smile blossomed on her face. I had a wonderful time today. I hope our next conversation will be just as fruitful. Saraphina's figure disappeared beyond the archway, leaving only her back for Benjamin to see. He raised a hand to his forehead and let out a sigh. She's driving me crazy. I've been underestimating Astoria and Saraphina all this time. If I could become Astoria's son-in-law, a family with overwhelming military power, wealth, and intelligence. Most importantly, if I could become the husband of that exceptionally brilliant princess. She's making me take this seriously. Benjamin's hand clenched into a fist. Now, I don't want to give her up to anyone. At this point, a glint of determination flashed in his eyes. I'll have to do whatever it takes. With a loud bang, the door burst open. Quillian rushed into the room, a brilliant smile on his face. Saraphina forced a smile. He swept Saraphina up in his arms. Did you sleep well last night? Did anything unusual happen? Saraphina smiled and waved her hand. I'm Euphine. Nothing happened. Quillian's expression still held a trace of guilt. That's good, but I'm still sorry. I should have been with you, Sarah. He has been coming for a week straight to apologize for missing the tea party. Speaking of which, it's been a week. Time flies since I talked with Benjamin. As compensation, I brought you a gift. He opened an exquisite wooden box, revealing a magnificent necklace. It's a magical item for self-defense. This should be of some help to you. What does it do? Quillian's eyes sparkled. Just say the activation spell, and all living beings within a 3-meter radius will die instantly. He had a gentle smile on his face. Is this really for self-defense? Instant death? Isn't that a bit extreme? Saraphina hid behind Emma. I don't want something so scary. Emma and Dior are always guarding me. I'll be fine. Saraphina peeked out. Right, Emma? Emma bowed slightly. I agree with Her Highness, Your Majesty. That magical item is too risky. Quillian knelt down. Lady Grey, Her Highness is in constant danger. I believe this level of preparation is necessary. Emma's expression was serious, but the one who cast the spell is Her Highness herself. She might be traumatized from killing someone. What's wrong with killing an enemy? Emma's gaze was firm. Even if it's an enemy, it's a tragedy for a child to take a life. Such cruelty will leave a scar on the soul. Tears welled up in Saraphina's eyes. Don't destroy your soul. She clutched Emma's sleeve tightly. Emma bowed deeply. Her Highness's hand should be for holding flowers, not for being stained with blood. I will handle all the dirty tasks. Please give the magical item to me. I beg you. Your Majesty. Quillian looked at her silently. Holding flowers, not blood. Quillian turned to face Emma. I understand, Lady Grey. He then turned to Saraphina. Instead, you must be more vigilant than usual. Protect Her Highness well. Quillian placed a brooch in Saraphina's hand. Seraphina looked at the brooch in surprise, her eyes sparkling. Emma bowed slightly. As you command, even if it cost me my life. Seraphina hugged Quillian tightly. Benjamin sat at a table. An announcement came from outside the door. Her Highness the Princess has arrived. The door slowly opened. Finally, Seraphina's figure appeared in the doorway. She smiled and curtsied. Hello, Prince Benjamin. Please have a seat, Your Highness. Benjamin gestured politely. Today, I will serve you tea. Seraphina nodded slightly. Thank you, Prince Benjamin. An exquisite tea set was on the table. He smiled and introduced it. A new batch of fine rose tea has arrived. I hope it's to your taste. An attendant stepped forward. Your Highness, I will test it for poison before serving. Seraphina bowed her head. Yes, thank you. The attendant took out a blue magic orb and held it above the teapot. He watched with cold eyes, calculating in his mind. Today, the princess will finally be mine. The attendant bowed. Everything is in order, Your Highness. Thank you. Seraphina picked up the teacup. Then, I shall begin. A triumphant smile played on his lips. That is a potion made from the Tolerantian family's secret formula. Although the one in the tea is an incomplete version. Seraphina opened a sugar bowl and scooped up a sugar cube with a teaspoon. The moment that sugar is added, the potion will be revived in the cup, becoming its complete form. You can't escape. Princess. Seraphina took a light sip of tea. A faint magical glow appeared around her, like invisible chains. Now the love potion is taking effect. Seraphina held the teacup with both hands. Wow, it smells so good. But I'm not used to drinking plain tea. Could I have some milk? A hint of disdain flashed in Benjamin's eyes. Milk? How childish. He turned to an attendant. Bring some milk. An attendant approached with a silver milk pitcher. He slowly poured the warm milk into the teacup. The tea and milk blended together. Adding a little milk won't affect the potion's efficacy. It's fine. Seraphina gave a brilliant smile. Thank you. Benjamin also lifted his own teacup and took an elegant sip. The rose tea is a top-grade blend, so its aroma is rich and its taste is sweet. Benjamin's pupils suddenly contracted. Sweet? He looked down at his teacup. I didn't add any sugar. Seraphina smiled and said, the tea smells wonderful. Benjamin's whole body jolted, his heart skipping a beat. How can this voice be so enchanting? He felt his heart racing. Her presence was as dazzling as a deity's. A hint of slyness flashed in Seraphina's eyes. She radiated a soft glow. Benjamin's cheeks flushed and tears fell uncontrollably. Seraphina watched him with satisfaction. The potion is working well. Benjamin invited me to his room and personally served me rose tea. Based on these 2 points alone, I guess he would use a love potion. Before my regression, I won the war against Tolerantia. After the war, I took all their alchemical knowledge, except for one thing, the formula for the love potion. Part of the reason I chose Benjamin as a suitor was for this. A person like him would never resist using such a potion. Benjamin coldly commanded, someone bring the milk. Seraphina quietly swapped the 2 cups. She smirked. Benjamin stammered in reply, why yes. Your Highness. Seraphina offered a handkerchief. Why are you crying? Here, wipe your tears. Benjamin waved his hands in a fluster. How can I accept the princess's handkerchief? I heard that if the target already harbors feelings of affection, the effect is stronger. It seems Benjamin likes me more than I thought. Seraphina pressed the handkerchief into his trembling hand. Take it. Don't worry. Benjamin clutched the handkerchief tightly. His cheeks were crimson. Seraphina's smile was bright. By the way, there's something I'm curious about. Benjamin immediately sat up straight. Please ask. Anything at all. Last time, you shared the formula for a homunculus. Seraphina rested her chin on her hands, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Do you know any other formulas? I'd love to learn more. Benjamin immediately clenched his fists. Of course, I will tell you everything. The room was filled with various materials and books. Benjamin opened his arms, showing off his collection. They are all common things, but depending on the proportions and processing methods, alchemy produces vastly different results. Seraphina exclaimed in admiration, wow, that's amazing. She picked up a book and flipped through it quickly. By the way, I heard that a legendary alchemist once created a love potion. I suppose you don't have something like that, Lord Benjamin? Benjamin scoffed. Who do you take me for? Of course, I know that formula. I'll write it down for you. Seraphina gave a triumphant smile. Love dulls the senses and makes a genius slow-witted. Benjamin picked up a quill and began to write on a piece of parchment. With that potion, I can stay safely by Castelin's side. Seraphina watched quietly, her finger against her lower lip. Everything is under control. The tip of the quill scratched across the paper, leaving complex characters. Suddenly, sparks flew from the tip of the quill. Benjamin looked up in astonishment. The paper instantly burst into flames and exploded. Saraphina was thrown back by the shockwave. Benjamin was sent flying and crashed onto the floor. The formula is protected by a curse, but I met all the conditions to not trigger it. Flames engulfed the room. He reached out a trembling hand. Could it be my brother? Your Highness. Saraphina fell to the ground, watching the scene in shock. Her pupils constricted, her heart pounding like a drum. A phantom of a woman appeared in the flames, her voice echoing in her mind. Sarah, run. You must live, she whispered tremblingly. Mother, countless fires were set. The entire city was reduced to ashes in the flames. But this was not my intention. That seed burned the whole city without hesitation. Every time, I let out a silent scream. Tears streamed down Seraphina's face, but she couldn't make a sound. Every moment the world collapsed was not hell, it was a nightmare. The raging fire was reflected in her eyes. Mother, black smoke spread. Seraphina gasped in pain. Get out, run. Seraphina struggled to her feet and stumbled towards the exit. Her heart was pounding, and a sharp pain shot through her chest. She let out a muffled grunt. Seraphina's trembling hand gripped the doorknob. Stop! She looked back, her eyes filled with terror and reluctance. Benjamin lay motionless in the sea of fire. A dark shadow whispered behind her. Leave him, Seraphina. He's the one who tried to drug you. It doesn't matter if he dies. I can't leave him. Seraphina let go of the doorknob and rushed back into the fire. She stumbled to Benjamin's side, grabbed his arms tightly, and struggled to drag him out. Seraphina clenched her teeth. I can't just run away. If I use magic, I can move him instantly. She struggled to drag Benjamin's body. But what then? Seraphina looked up at the door, her expression grave. What if they sense my magic the moment I open the door? The shadow roared in her ear. Leave him now. No. A determined fire ignited in Seraphina's eyes. I don't want to see anyone else die in these flames. Seraphina held Benjamin tightly as the fire raged around them. Someone will notice the fire and come soon. I just have to hold on until then. A clear and powerful surge of magic flowed out. A chilling cold spread instantly. Seraphina looked up abruptly. Castelin? Castelin's figure appeared at the door, frost spreading beneath his feet. The attendants rushed in. Your Highness! Your Highness! Save the princess and the prince. Put out the fire. The attendants frantically extinguished the remaining flames. Someone carried the unconscious Benjamin away. This way. Seraphina collapsed on the floor, staring blankly at the scene. Why? Castelin stood at the door, guards in white cloaks flanking him. He watched her quietly. Why is Castelin here? There was no emotion in Castelin's blue eyes, like a frozen lake. Seraphina was helped up by a maid. She slowly closed her eyes, temporarily shutting out the chaos and terror. A convoy slowly drove into the estate. White flags fluttered in the wind. Are you ready? Prince Benjamin. Saraphina, holding a lace parasol, stood quietly in the garden. The fire was ruled an accident. The official story is that the two accidentally knocked over a lantern while talking, igniting the flames. Thanks to my testimony, Your Highness. Benjamin doesn't remember what happened that day. They say the shock of the fire and the smoke he inhaled caused his amnesia. A messenger bowed and reported perhaps it was not an accident, but an assassination attempt on Her Highness. His Highness the Prince was just unfortunately caught in it. His Majesty the King of Tolerantia is deeply concerned. Quillian sat on the throne, his expression serious. Therefore, we have decided to withdraw our suit and request that His Highness the Prince return to his country immediately. Go back. Benjamin lowered his eyes. I don't need your farewell. Going back doesn't mean I'm giving up my suit, so we don't have to say goodbye. Saraphina turned her face away. If you go back, I'll have to choose from the remaining suitors. It doesn't matter if you get married or not. No matter what, I will return to you, because I have never given up. Benjamin showed a confident smile. You are already the meaning of my life. Saraphina stiffened slightly, her face under the parasol filled with astonishment. Benjamin turned around. I'll be going now. We will meet again. Saraphina was holding a giant rabbit doll. Come, Duke Rabbit, please sit here. She struggled to drag the doll to a chair and settled it in the seat. The maids watched from a distance, their eyes twinkling with anticipation. We want to play house too. One maid mustered her courage. Your Highness, does your game of house need a maid? Another quickly added, I can even be a flower pot. Saraphina turned around, forcing a slightly stiff smile. I want to play alone. Could you please leave? It's a little embarrassing. The maids left, dejected. What a shame. Saraphina watched their retreating backs. They used to hate playing with me so much. How disappointing. Well then, let's begin. She laid out various ingredients on the table, her movements swift and practiced. Secretly preparing the ingredients every night took me quite some time. It seems the recipe has a protection spell on it, but I've already memorized it all. I don't know what Castelin and Jera are up to. She poured a purple liquid into a bowl. Even though I know this thing isn't proper, I need this potion to keep Castelin safely by my side. A puff of pink smoke erupted, filling the air with a sweet fragrance. Phew, is it done? Saraphina picked up a cup of tea. I've infused it with my own magic. This way, even if Castelin doesn't see me, he will fall in love with the owner of the magic, which is me. A knock came from the door. Saraphina looked toward it. Outside, Diorlin asked softly, Your Highness, are you finished? It's almost time for tea. It's time for tea with Castelin. Saraphina stood up abruptly, a brilliant smile blooming on her face. Yes, I'll be right out. She stuffed the potion vial into her sleeve. She walked quickly to the door. Dior, is everything ready? If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know anytime. Diorlin, since the fire, the security around me has gotten tighter. Saraphina clutched the hem of her skirt, but I insisted on going alone. Thank you. Let's play house with you next time. Diorlin bowed slightly. It is my honor. I have something to give you. Saraphina held a bouquet of white roses. Thank you again, Lord Castelin. Saraphina gazed at Castelin. I can't see through his thoughts. Even such a small thing makes me uneasy. Diorlin extended a hand. Your Highness, please sit here. He pulled out a chair for Saraphina. Castelin's hand rested lightly on the back of the chair. Diorlin's smile froze on his face. Castelin looked down without a word. What's going on? This has never happened before. Is this some kind of scheme too? Saraphina clutched the bouquet. I was taught to escort a lady like this when you are with her, especially your future fiancé. You should be more attentive. Saraphina forced a smile. I see. Thank you for your kindness. A maid approached with a tea cart. Castelin raised a hand to stop her. I'll just have a glass of cold water. Just as I thought. I already mixed the potion into the tea and snacks beforehand. But if Castelin only drinks water, it will be difficult to make him drink it. Saraphina clasped her hands together. Lord Castelin, this tea. I want a great trouble to get it. I really want to share it with you. Saraphina looked at him earnestly. Won't you have a cup with me? The maids whispered from distance. Her Highness is so cute. Such a gentle request. There's no way Lord Castelin can refuse. Castelin said, expressionless, water is enough for me. The maid's smiles froze instantly. He refused. Saraphina's eyes dimmed. Is it because you've taken a vow to live a simple life? This pie was meticulously prepared by the royal chef. If he hears you're only drinking water, the chef will surely be heartbroken. Castelin picked up his water glass. I will go and apologize to him later. Isn't taking a bite the best way to respond? I will apologize. Even so, an hour later, Saraphina slumped in her chair, completely defeated. Castelin put down his water glass. Time is up. I must take my leave. He got up and left, presenting a cold, retreating back. Saraphina sat alone in the empty room, her face dark. I pleaded with him like that, yet he didn't budge an inch. Is he even human? No. As long as he's human, he must have a weakness. Her eyes instantly sharpened. A flash of determination crossed them. Saraphina spun around abruptly. Diorlin bowed slightly. As you command. Your Highness, I must see the head chef immediately. The room was bustling with activity. Chefs were at their stations, spatulas flipping. Knives flashed up and down. Seeing his visitor, the head chef's face broke into a wide smile. Whoa, Your Highness. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. But what brings you to the kitchen? Saraphina gave an innocent smile. It's like this. Lord Castelin hasn't touched any of the desserts. I thought that since he's from a foreign country, his tastes might be different, so I was a little worried. Upon hearing this, the head chef, his expression shifted slightly. Unbelievable. I heard the princess had changed, but I never thought it would be like this. What does Lord Castelin usually eat? The head chef looked troubled. Well, it might be better for you to see for yourself. We're just preparing his dinner now. This is it. Saraphina's eyes widened. This is Lord Castelin's meal? On the plate was only a piece of toast and a boiled egg. The chef hastily waved his hands. This wasn't my idea. Lord Castelin refused all other food. I heard that in Zara, they usually eat simple dishes like this. I've heard that people with divine power need very little food to sustain themselves. He occasionally asks for some fruits and vegetables, but that's also rare. This is worse than what a commoner eats. More importantly, these are all unprocessed ingredients. There's no way to put a drug in them. The basic potion contains sugar and rose essence. If he only eats this kind of food, his sense of smell and taste must be extremely sharp. Then, Saraphina looked up, her eyes gleaming. Could I ask you for a favor? The head chef and the cooks around him looked at each other, confused. Night fell. Quillian sat at his desk, fingers tapping lightly on a document. A subordinate with gray hair reported, bowing. Regarding the investigation into the surviving dragon and the master of the tower, we lack intelligence on both fronts. Although records prove that dragons did exist, due to the dragon slayers, those records have been hidden for centuries. As for the magic tower where the archmage lives in seclusion, all eyewitness memories are hazy. Quillian's eyes narrowed slightly. He tapped a finger on the desk. So you haven't found the information I want. I can't believe it, that our country's intelligence department is so incompetent. Quillian stood up, his gaze sweeping over the subordinate. It seems it's time for a purge. The subordinate's face turned deathly pale. Purging the intelligence department. That's practically a death sentence. Quillian picked up a file. At least things are progressing smoothly on this front. Preparations for the princess's commemorative exhibition seem to be going well. Portraits, handprints, and footprints, the palace wall she first scribbled on, and the letters you wrote to me. Quillian looked at the list, but I feel like something is missing. The subordinate cautiously suggested, Her Highness is always growing. How about commissioning a statue of her? Quillian's eyes lit up. Why didn't I think of that? Get on it immediately. Yes, sir. The subordinate quickly turned and left. Quillian stood alone in the empty room, his gaze falling back to the documents on the desk. I must find one of them, the dragon or the master of the tower. He closed his eyes, gently pressing his fingertips to his temples. This is the only way to stabilize Sarah's magic. There's too little information about the Demon King and magic. We can only rely on similar cases, like spirit masters or summoners. If the contracted entity is too powerful, control will be wrested away. In that situation, there are two possible solutions. One is to summon an even more powerful contractor. The other is to seize someone else's magic power to suppress the contracted entity. In the first case, we just need to find a contractor that can match the Demon King. Weak spirits or summoned beasts are useless. But what if it's a dragon? The second method could also work. But even the chief mage. An image of his daughter appeared in Quillian's memory. Saraphina laughing in the bathtub. No, father, Sarah is too weak. She'll die. Then, Quillian's gaze sharpened. The master of the tower who has grasped the laws of the world and all magic. That archmage might be our only hope. There's no time to rest. Quillian's gaze swept across the desk. It stopped on a photograph. Perhaps I should take a breather. Quillian stopped walking. Is the princess in the kitchen? A maid answered, bowing. Yes, she hasn't returned yet. Quillian crossed the vast, ornate hall. What is Sarah doing in the kitchen? He walked into the kitchen. Is this how you knead the dough? The head chef was guiding her. Yes. Keep stirring until the flour is completely dissolved. Quillian watched his daughter's figure and called out softly, Sarah. Saraphina turned her head, a smile spreading across her face. Father. Quillian's gaze froze. Why? He turned to face his subordinate, his voice icy. This is the first time in her life Saraphina has cooked. Why didn't you report this to me? Quillian was furious, unforgivable, immediately summoned the painters, composers, sculptors, and scribes. Not to record this historic moment would be a loss for the entire world. Saraphina's voice interrupted him. Father? Quillian instantly reined in his anger. Yes, please speak. Saraphina offered him a strawberry, her smile radiant. Quillian leaned down and took a bite. Saraphina's eyes were full of expectation. Is it good? Quillian closed his eyes. Delicious. It's very delicious. The most delicious thing in the whole world. Saraphina announced, I'm planning to make a strawberry cake. Quillian asked gently, that sounds delicious, but why are you making it yourself? Saraphina's smile was incredibly pure. Because I want to give it to Lord Castelin. The smile on Quillian's face vanished instantly. You're making a cake for Castelin? He may possess divine power. He may be important. But Quillian's fists clenched, knuckles cracking. That guy should be the one making the cake. Why is my daughter doing it? Saraphina tilted her head up, her smile shy. But before that, I wanted to give one to you first, father. That's why I've been practicing. Quillian's anger instantly dissipated. Have you made something? I'd like to try it. Saraphina's eyes lit up. I made something. She pointed to a distant table. That. On the table over there was a plate of something burnt black. Saraphina snatched the plate. I'll throw this away and make a new one. Quillian's hand gently pressed down on the plate, stopping her. Quillian picked up a piece of charcoal and put it in his mouth without hesitation. Saraphina watched him in horror. The chefs were also dumbfounded. Your Majesty. Quillian closed his eyes, savoring his daughter's first cake. Truly delicious. Saraphina has a talent for baking too. He suddenly fell backward with a thud. Your Majesty. Someone quick. Saraphina held her forehead. It seems cake is still too difficult. I'll have to make something simpler. Sunlight streamed onto the table, where plates of exquisite cookies gave off a sweet aroma. But I still want to make a cake. The head maid gently stroked her hair. You've been working hard for 3 days. I never expected Her Highness to be so dedicated to baking. Lord Castelin will surely be very happy. But isn't this too much? Saraphina jumped off the chair. I want to give treats to the people I love, too. She picked up bags of packaged cookies, smiling brightly. For you. This one is a gift for Emma. The head maid took the bag of cookies. Saraphina was a little confused. Emma? The head maid's eyes welled up. Our princess has grown up. She hugged Saraphina tightly. Your Highness, I will enjoy them. Saraphina hugged her back. Thank you, Emma. Saraphina stood at the end of an ornate corridor. This time, I'll definitely make him drink the potion. She held a bag of cookies in both hands. Cookies baked by the princess herself. He can't possibly refuse. Castelin, just you wait. The door slowly opened. Come in. Castelin stood in the center of the room. Welcome. Is there something you need, Your Highness? Saraphina smiled and presented the gift with both hands. I have something I'd like to give you, Lord Castelin. Castelin looked at the beautifully wrapped bag of cookies. May I open it? Of course. He untied the ribbon. Saraphina smiled brightly. I made these myself. I especially wanted to give them to you, Lord Castelin. I know you observe a vow of asceticism, but could you try just one? She clasped her hands tightly, her eyes full of hope. To make him eat it, I even deliberately injured my hand and wrapped it in a bandage. He won't refuse now, will he? Castelin held the cookie, his expression solemn. What's wrong with him? It's just a cookie. Castelin handed the cookie back to her. I'm sorry, I really can't eat it. A faint healing glow appeared on Saraphina's hand. The wound was closing. Castelin asked softly, is your injury okay now? Saraphina looked down at her hand. Yes. He bowed slightly. I should go pray now. I will see you next time. Saraphina stood silently, watching his retreating back. Why did that broken, expressionless face look so pained? I want to know what's hidden beneath that face. In the kitchen, a chef sighed. I never thought Lord Castelin would refuse the dessert. Her Highness put so much effort into it. Saraphina was all smiles in the kitchen. Thank you all for your help. Do you think Lord Castelin will like it? 3 chefs sat at a table, silently peeling potatoes. Their expressions complicated. One chef spoke up. He is a priest of Zera, after all. But how can someone so young endure that kind of diet? Another chef chimed in. I heard it's a tradition in Zera. The other priests eat like that too. The head chef interrupted them. That only applies to Lord Castelin. The other priests. John smiled brightly. Suha, thank you for coming. Saraphina looked up. Her eyes showed some surprise. Brother, are you conducting an experiment? John turned back. I'm developing a spell that can permanently preserve the desserts you gave me. It's almost complete. Saraphina waved her arms excitedly. I can just bake you some more. Please eat those. Saraphina covered her forehead. Those have been sitting out for a long time. Throw them away. Diorlin looked at his hand in disbelief. Was there a spell on it? I shouldn't have eaten it. Dior. John patted Diorlin's shoulder. Lord Diorlin, please don't blame yourself. But were the desserts good? Diorlin nodded. Yes, the subtle flavor of the vanilla bean and the jam made by the princess herself. He was uncontrollably furious. He spun around abruptly and smashed the bag of desserts in his hand against the window. The bag of desserts flew through the air, shattering the window pane. John and Diorlin were stunned. Saraphina's smile was radiant, but her tone was ice cold. I'll bake some more. Next time, be sure to eat them while they're fresh. Yes, I'm sorry, but those were the first desserts Sarah ever made, after all. John said thoughtfully, how about using time reversal magic to restore the damaged desserts? A glint appeared in Saraphina's eyes. Reverse time with magic? John looked at her. There are very few successful cases, almost no records. A great archmage like the Master of the Magic Tower might have some information. Saraphina's pupils contracted slightly. Time travel. Countless clock faces spun in the void. She felt as if she were in the torrent of time. Could this be the key to my return? Even in my memories from before the regression, there was very little information about the Archmage. I need to investigate this slowly. Inside the temple, light streamed through the high windows, falling on the blue carpet. Castelin knelt in the holy light, hands clasped together, praying piously. "Welcome, Lord Castelin. Did your prayers go well?" Castelin nodded slightly. "Yes. Then let's have lunch together." A simple meal was on the table, a few pieces of fruit and a piece of bread. A priest cleared his throat. "I'm not very hungry today. I'll skip it." Another priest also put down his fork. Me too." An attendant handed a picnic basket to a priest. Inside the basket were red wine, bread, and meat. The priest finally spoke. Lord Castelin, I know I shouldn't be meddling, but I'm only saying this out of concern for you." The priest offered a bag of desserts. On holy festival days, even priests sneak a treat, don't they? He coaxed Castelin. "Just one small bite should be fine, right?" Castelin was expressionless. "But today is not a festival. Last time, didn't Princess Saraphina visit with desserts? I don't think eating them would violate any rules. If the engagement is broken off because you refused her gift, His Holiness the Pope will be even more disappointed." Castelin remained silent. He finally spoke. "Even so, I still cannot eat the desserts. I will consider other methods. Thank you for your concern." He turned and left, his footsteps heavy and resolute. Through a crack in the door, a figure in a black cloak quietly spied on everything. Saraphina sat alone by the window, sunlight filling the magnificent room. She gazed at the vase on the windowsill, where a single red flower bloomed quietly. Castelin sent flowers again today. She reached out a finger, gently touching a petal. "I know he wants to marry me. Whether he has feelings for me or not, marrying Castelin isn't a big problem, even without a love potion. But I always feel uneasy. Once the Demon King's existence is revealed, everyone's love will change, turning into cold blades. That's why I must make him drink the love potion. Because that manipulated love is at least the only thing I can trust. All right, since priests indulge on festival days, I'll just have to wait for the right time. For now." Saraphina showed a brilliant smile. "Shall I deal with the other suitors first? Thank you for taking the time to see me." A blond man stepped forward, took Saraphina's hand, and kissed the back of it. He looked up, his eyes full of mirth. "Princess Saraphina, Romeo Gillini, Duke of Bandila. It's a pleasure to meet you, Duke Romeo." Saraphina smiled innocently. Although he was an illegitimate child, he became the first prince because he was male. But when a legitimate heir was born, he was stripped of his princely title, demoted to a duke, and became a forgotten prince. Saraphina looked around. "By the way, these things, I've never seen them before. Did you prepare them yourself, Duke?" Romeo answered with a smile. "Yes. I wanted to share some foreign culture with you. Bandila is a hub for countless merchant ships." Romeo lifted the teapot. "You must be bored, staying in the palace all the time. So I want to bring you a novel experience." He poured tea into a cup. "I hope this suits your taste. I brought some sweet honey. Of course, it's nowhere near as sweet as the light in your eyes." He's only 14, so saying things like that just makes him seem cute. Saraphina's smile deepened. "Wow, then I won't hold back. The desserts you sent last time were also delicious, so I prepared a gift in return this time." A maid brought a plate with several golden brown desserts on it. "Thank you. I will enjoy them." Saraphina picked up a dessert and put in her mouth. Her eyes lit up. "Goodness, how can something be this delicious?" Romeo was delighted. "I'm glad you like it. It's called a lady's kiss," meaning a lady's kiss, because the classic shape resembles kissing lips. When we're both grown up, Romeo's cheeks flushed, his eyes shining. "I hope to become your lover and share that kiss with you." How dare he flirt with the princess? Truly different from a young age. I knew the Romeo from before time was turned back. A derelict, scandal-ridden bastard of a prince. A playboy who constantly dated and then abandoned women. But to me, he's just a cute kid now. Because back then, Romeo wasn't a prince, but a princess. That exaggerated philandering was to hide the truth. Although the king of Bandila had many concubines, he had long been unable to produce a son. Every child born was a girl. When the seventh daughter was born, the king killed her with his own hands. So when Romeo was born, his mother, in order to protect her daughter, had to lie and claim she had given birth to a son. And so, Romeo survived and was raised as a prince. Perhaps because we both escaped death, I feel a sense of kinship with him. I find Romeo quite likable, but that's not the only reason I'm paying attention to him. Seraphina's eyes were sharp. Then from now on, let's get to know each other well, Romeo. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, filling the magnificent room. Romeo lay on the sofa, legs crossed, leisurely humming a tune. He closed his eyes, a slight smile on his lips. I'm glad I've been getting along well with the princess lately. Her Highness seems to be fond of Castelin, but he refused her gift. It's not hard to console a 10-year-old child. Romeo picked up a grape and popped it into his mouth. To survive, I must marry the princess. Astoria is a good place to hide my identity. My younger brother's assassins will never be able to find me here. If I were the legitimate heir, the throne would have been mine for the taking. Why are they trying so desperately to kill me? The wedding won't be held until the princess comes of age. Before that, I'll build my own power base, prepare an escape route, and then break off the engagement. He snapped his fingers. Nightingale, a glowing bird, flew and landed on his hand. Bring back information on the princess, as usual. The light bird flew from Romeo's hand. He whispered softly, I'm counting on you. The light bird turned into a streak of light and disappeared out the window. A knock came from outside the door. Your Highness, I have something to report. Romeo sat back down on the sofa. What is it? The attendant stood respectfully. It's like this. The pipes in the guest rooms are under repair. So for the next 2 weeks, you'll be unable to use your private bathroom. Romeo's pupils contracted sharply. What? The attendant continued to report. During this period, you will need to use the royal family's exclusive bathroom. Let me use the Astoria royal family's facilities. A generous gesture, indeed, but absolutely not. And it's still summer. Romeo must always maintain the image of a beautiful and fragrant young man. I have to think of something. Night enveloped the magnificent palace. Romeo tiptoed through the hallway. The royal bathroom should be empty at this hour. Please. Romeo quickened his pace and rushed towards the bathroom. An attendant was standing guard at the bathroom door, motionless. The attendant bowed. Ah, good evening, Duke Romeo. Romeo peeked out from behind the door, a stiff smile on his face. Ha, it's good to see you. He asked cautiously, by the way, is anyone inside? The attendant answered calmly, yes. His Majesty the King and His Highness the Prince just went in. That was close. He waved his hand. Then I'll come back later. Goodbye. A voice came from inside the bathroom. Who's out there? The attendant immediately responded, Duke Romeo has arrived, but he was just about to leave. The blood in Romeo's entire body froze instantly. A command came from the bathroom. Have Duke Romeo come in. Wait a minute. I'll come back later. It's a pleasure to see you, Duke Romeo. I was just thinking of having a chat with my daughter's suitor. Quillian stood up from the water, droplets sliding down his muscular contours. The timing is perfect. What? I heard King Quillian has dragon's blood. No, that's not the point. I had to look away quickly. On the other side of the bath, John picked up a towel and wiped his back. No need to be so tense. Since you're here, why don't we chat while we bathe? Romeo waved his hands in a fluster. Sorry, I was just passing by. I was about to go back to sleep. He forced a stiff smile. Well then, I'll take my leave. Romeo turned and ran. He desperately rushed out of the bathroom. Quillian and John stood where they were, looking bewildered. Romeo leaned against the wall, panting heavily. That was too close. If they had found out I'm a woman. A voice came from behind him. Duke Romeo. Romeo's body stiffened. He slowly turned around. Ha! Your Highness, what are you doing here? John closed in on him. I'm curious about one thing. When you saw me in the changing room just now, your face turned very red. Romeo's cheeks flushed instantly. His pupils trembled violently. Could it be, Your Highness, you're interested in men? Romeo was dumbfounded. What? John's tone was flat. I don't care who you like. But if you're thinking of marrying into my family to get close to my sister. His eyes turned icy in an instant, overflowing with killing intent. I will make you beg for a death that will never come. An invisible pressure washed over him. Romeo broke out in a cold sweat. What is this oppressive feeling? Aren't we the same age? John's eyes were sharp. I'll ask again. Do you like men? If I lie, he'll definitely find out. Romeo's face turned pale. He squeezed his eyes shut and shouted, I like the opposite sex. John watched him with a blank expression. Romeo nervously peeked at his reaction. John slowly spoke, I see. Great, I passed. Romeo breathed a sigh of relief. You really scared me, Your Highness. John placed a hand on his chest. My apologies. I am very protective of my sister. If any piece of trash dares to make her cry. A cold glint flashed in John's eyes. I will make them shed 100 times, 1,000 times more tears of blood. Romeo shuddered. Thankfully, I wasn't found out. But if my true identity is exposed, I'll die. The water supply system had been broken for a week. Romeo slumped onto the sofa. He let out a long sigh. I can't go on like this. A quick wash won't solve the problem. Saraphina, holding a teacup, wrinkled her nose. Where's that sweaty smell coming from? Romeo curled up on the sofa. He clutched his head in despair. I've lived for 14 years and have never been so humiliated. I can't take it anymore. He held out his hand. Nightingale, keep a close watch on him for me. The light spread, forming an invisible surveillance network that enveloped the entire palace. The suitors are all in the annex. The royal family members are in their offices or their own rooms. Romeo clenched his fist. Good. I'll wash up as quickly as possible and head back. He soaked alone in the enormous bath, letting out a long sigh. Astoria, you truly are an amazing place. I can finally relax a little. I really wish you could give up this disguise. Even if I'm not royalty, it doesn't matter. As long as I can live freely. As long as I can be myself again. Stop. I can't think about this anymore. Such thoughts are too extravagant. Survival is the top priority. I can't stay here too long. He stepped out of the bath. All right, time to go back. A loud bang. The ceiling exploded. What? En explosion? Huge chunks of stone and debris rained down. Romeo looked up in terror. He screamed and dodged. What on earth happened? Nightingale clearly said no one was here. It came from the grand bathhouse. It might be the work of an assassin. Search the area immediately. Romeo clutched his bath towel tightly, his face pale. He closed his eyes and concentrated. Nightingale, report the situation. A light flickered in his consciousness. Nightingale's vision unfolded. There's no direction without people. There's nowhere to run. They're closing in from all sides. It can't end like this. I went through so much to get here, all for the sake of freedom. In the end, I duke Romeo. He whipped his head around. He saw Saraphina standing at the door. Saraphina held out her hand. Your Grace, this way. Romeo clutched the towel tightly, his expression panicked. Saraphina watched him quietly. So, the Duke is a woman. Romeo's body stiffened, his breath catching. Saraphina's gaze was calm and certain. She's sure that I'm a woman. Lies are useless now. Romeo's pupils contracted. Sweat trickled down. Yes, that's right. Romeo slowly turned around, his voice trembling. He clutched the towel, his body trembling with shame. Deceiving you, Your Highness. I am truly sorry. I am shameless, but I beg you, please, the fact that I'm a woman. Saraphina interrupted him. I'll keep it a secret. Romeo looked up abruptly. What? Saraphina's gaze was firm. I will protect your secret, Your Grace. I promise. Saraphina's gaze softened. I think I can understand how you feel. Your Grace, because when I was born, my parents also tried to hide my gender. In Astoria, once a princess is born, she must be executed. Saraphina lowered her eyes. That's why I want to help you. Your Grace, it was a birth that was not blessed. Countless people prayed for my death. I suppose I can only live on by abandoning myself. So I understand you, Your Grace. Romeo stared at her. For the first time, I feel understood. For the first time, I don't feel alone. This person. A blush spread across Romeo's cheeks. This person genuinely wants to help me. Your Highness, but I deceived you. Romeo's fingers clenched. I've been using you. Really, I'm so sorry. He wiped away his tears with the back of his hand, sobbing uncontrollably. Saraphina gently took his arm. It's all right. Please don't cry. I also lied to you, sabotaging the water system, luring you to the grand bathhouse, making the ceiling collapse. All of it was to seize your information-gathering ability. And your spirit, Nightingale. If you can't marry me, you'll have to go back, won't you? Romeo replied in a low voice, yes. It's all right. As long as you can keep this secret, that's enough. Saraphina suddenly spoke. But what if there's a way? Romeo looked up sharply. A way? Saraphina held up a finger, her eyes sparkling. Yes, a way. A clever plan that would allow Duke Romeo to stay here, even without being my fiancé. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows, filling the warm room. The florist handed over a bouquet. These are the marigolds I recommend. Castelin took the bouquet. Thank you. The florist asked curiously, you're always buying flowers. Who are they for? Castelin replied, for my fiancé. The florist's eyes lit up. Oh my, how romantic. Does she like the flowers you give her? Castelin held the marigolds, his eyes hesitant. I'm not sure. The florist looked concerned. Perhaps they're not to her taste? Next time, you could ask her what flower she likes, and her favorite colors. That way, you could choose a gift more to her liking. Castelin listened thoughtfully. He lowered his head. I will. A carriage jolted along a country road. Castelin, dressed in a white formal suit, wore a serious expression. A voice from his memory declared solemnly, the princess is a demon who carries the fate of the demon king. Do not forget your duty. Punish her and save the world. A hint of resolve flashed in Castellin's blue eyes. The princess is the seed of the Demon King. So I thought that wicked princess set the fire and ultimately killed Benjamin. I planned to deal with the princess myself. That's what I thought. It's strange. From that moment on, everything became strange. Saraphina called out softly from within the flames, "Castelin, kill me. The day you killed me. Even before I was reborn." The blade was stained with blood. It reflected Castellin's cold eyes. "This is a trick of the demon to tempt me." Blood trickled from the corner of Saraphina's mouth as she whispered softly, "Thank you." A true demon would never show. That's such a sorrowful expression. Defeating the Demon King brought no joy. Only a bone-deep hatred remained. Castelin stood alone upon the ruins. His figure was desolate. "How dare you?" "Saraphina." Castelin looked down. Blood spurted from his neck. Even in the moment of death, the questions never left my mind. Why was she smiling? Why did she thank me? Who are you, really? A sun-drenched manor. Castelin stood alone in the garden. After waking up, I've experienced 2 more regressions. My death doesn't seem to be the trigger for the regression. Regardless, my mission hasn't changed. Castelin held a bouquet of roses. "Kill the princess before she becomes the Demon King." He looked down, gazing at the bouquet. A trace of confusion flickered in his blue eyes. But in my memory, Saraphina held a gift in both hands, her face blooming with pure joy. Castelin stood alone in the empty courtyard. Is the princess truly evil? In a lavish room, sunlight streamed through the window. A voice spoke up. "Your Highness, did you sleep well?" Romeo, holding pink roses, spoke with a smile. "You're as lovely as ever today." Saraphina took the bouquet, a stiff smile on her face. "Romeo doesn't avoid my gaze in front of me." Romeo's smile didn't falter. "I'm much more used to it now." Saraphina held the flowers. "Father and my brother were both against it, but thankfully everything went smoothly. As for studying abroad, I'll speak to father for you. You can stay here. Not until you come of age. How can I ever repay this kindness? Is there anything I can do for you?" Saraphina looked up, a glint in her eye. "Help me." She explained softly, "Actually, I don't have any friends, because I've always been trapped in the palace." "So," she held out her hand, a radiant smile on her face. "Will you be my friend?" Romeo knelt on one knee and solemnly swore, "The only reason I am here. That is all thanks to you. Therefore, I offer you all my loyalty and respect." Saraphina quickly waved her hands. "Just being friends is enough." Saraphina held the bouquet. "Just be casual." Romeo covered his mouth, looking somewhat surprised. "In that case, we'll look very close. But the one you're most concerned about is Castelin, right?" Saraphina's gaze sharpened instantly. "How? How did you know?" Romeo stood up and explained, "I told you I'm a spirit master. This is news brought by the spirits." "I knew it." Romeo crossed his arms, a confident smile on his face. "So, what is it about Castelin that concerns you so much?" Saraphina was thoughtful. It's like he's been stripped of all desire. The more I look at him, the less I understand. He just really catches my attention. That feeling of being stripped of desire." Romeo fell into thought. "I've heard that the priests of Zara carry out judgments." Saraphina held the flowers. "Judgments?" Romeo explained. "If someone can't control their desires and commits a sin, they inflict punishment with a whip." Saraphina's expression tightened. Could Castelin have gone through something like that? He clenched his fist sharply. "Castelin is always very direct. But since your Highness is interested in him." Saraphina looked up at him. Romeo showed a cunning smile. "Why not make use of a love rival?" Castelin stood alone in the courtyard. Hearing footsteps, he stopped. Romeo handed a bouquet to Saraphina, whose face was beaming with a happy smile. Romeo bowed and kissed the back of her hand. "Well then, your Highness, I'll take my leave." Romeo turned and left. Castelin stood where he was, quietly watching the scene. A meaningful smile played on Romeo's lips. Castelin's face was expressionless, but his eyes stared coldly at him. Saraphina turned and saw Castelin. Castelin." Castelin bowed slightly. "Good day, your Highness." He offered a single flower. "I brought a flower." Saraphina took the flower. "Oh, thank you." She held the bouquet in one arm and the new flower in her other hand. "You don't have to bring one every day." Castelin's blue eyes watched her quietly. She once said she would marry the one who brought her flowers every day. Then why? Why does she have that expression? A completely different expression than before. Castelin and Saraphina sat opposite each other in the courtyard. The atmosphere was a bit heavy. Castelin was expressionless. Saraphina looked down, not speaking. Next time, I must ask her what flower she likes and what colors she prefers. Castelin finally spoke. Your Highness, may I ask a question? Saraphina looked up, her eyes a little vacant. Castelin looked directly at her. What flowers do you like? And what is your favorite color? Saraphina's eyes instantly lit up. I like all flowers, but I like red the most. She asked back, what about you, Castelin? Castelin answered calmly, I don't have one. Then, what are your hobbies? I don't have any. Then what food do you like? I don't have one. Castelin lowered his eyes. To like something means to desire it, and desire turns into greed. Desire is a sin. So I cut away. Therefore, he placed a hand on his chest. I can only give the same answer. Saraphina looked at him in disbelief. Then you don't have any wishes either? Right now, I wish to become your Highness's fiancée. Saraphina frowned. You just said you don't like anything. You don't like me, yet you still want to be engaged to me? Castellan's voice was calm. Yes. In exchange, aside from love, I can give you anything you want. Besides that, do you have any other gifts? Or other things you want? A brilliant smile bloomed on her face. Her hands clasped at her chest. Actually, there's one thing I want. In the kitchen, one hand picked up a potato, the other gripped a kitchen knife. I want to eat cream soup made by Castelin. Castelin stood in the kitchen, surrounded by enthusiastic chefs. He stared blankly at the potato and the knife. To win the princess's hand, I have no choice. A head chef patted his chest. We will give you our full support. Let's start with peeling the potatoes. Castelin clumsily peeled the potato. His knife skills were rough, leaving the potato pitted. Under the head chef's guidance, he chopped vegetables, his movements stiff yet meticulous. He stirred the soup in the pot. The head chef watched with satisfaction. It's almost ready. The head chef held up a finger. The final step, taste it, and add salt and pepper. Am I supposed to eat it? The head chef chuckled and corrected him. Not eat, just taste. It might be too bland or too salty. Castelin hesitated. But tasting, shouldn't the head chef be doing that? Saraphina was sitting at a nearby table, her chin in her hands, watching him with great expectation. I even refused the cookies. If I disappoint the princess this time, the engagement will be in jeopardy. But he remembered the Pope's cold words. If you refuse this gift and break the engagement, the Pope will only be more disappointed. For the future, at least this small matter. Castelin made up his mind. He brought the spoon to his lips and took a taste. It tastes good. He froze, his eyes wide. Good? I've developed a desire for mere food. The spoon fell, making a clattering sound. It tastes pretty good. A bowl of golden cream soup was served at the table. Saraphina's eyes lit up. Wow. She scooped up a spoonful and put it in her mouth, her face beaming with happiness. It's really delicious. Even though it's your first time making it, it's so tasty. Castelin watched her quietly, his heart stirring slightly. If I cook again, will I be able to see that smile again? Saraphina closed her eyes, savoring the delicious taste of the soup, enjoying the moment. Don't forget, our duty is to judge the wicked. Castellin's expression froze instantly. Don't think about it, Castelin. Don't feel anything, just as you were taught. Sunlight filled the courtyard. Saraphina walked alone. The plan is going smoothly. I'm very satisfied. Why do such a ridiculous thing? You didn't even bring the love potion. It's not because of that. Forcing a child to follow rules that even adults don't follow. Saraphina clenched her fist. I just wanted him to eat something delicious. Cooking was a good excuse. The goal of giving him the potion has never changed. She caressed her cheek. Just not today. She got up and turned to leave, her skirt swaying gently with her movement. A figure hidden behind a tree watched her departing figure without a word. Before she knew it, the scorching summer had faded and autumn had arrived. A voice called out, "Hello." Standing before her was a dark-skinned boy, Prince John of the Azad Desert Kingdom. Why is he here today? Saraphina was confused. When we were supposed to meet, he never showed up. Even when I ran into him by chance, he just ran away. John suddenly grabbed her wrist and pulled sharply. Your Highness, please come this way. Saraphina's eyes widened in shock. Wait a minute. John pulled her through the hall, the maids exclaiming Your Highness. Behind them, he led Saraphina into a greenhouse filled with lush plants and flowers. He announced proudly, I'm going to give all these flowers to the princess. John cleared his throat. These are desert flowers. I recreated the environment of Azza and grew them myself. The princess said she likes the person who brings her flowers every day. I thought Prince John hated me. No, I like you. Until this place was finished, I couldn't meet with the princess. If I came empty-handed, that you would be disappointed. So that's why. Saraphina's cheeks felt hot. This boy is so hard to understand. Princess, I really like you. Marry me. Saraphina was speechless for a moment. No. I am flustered. I don't know Prince John well, and for some reason, in my past life, he didn't live very long. Even so, he was chosen as a fiancé candidate, only because the Empire needed Azar's military power to form an alliance. He's only 9 years old. I thought we could just be friends. Saraphina caressed her cheek and smiled. The others are all good people too. It's hard to make a decision right away, but I like the princess the most. Saraphina looked at John. His eyes were welling up with tears. Is he crying? John suddenly shouted, I must marry the princess. He turned and ran out of the greenhouse. Saraphina was startled. I made him cry. Saraphina put a hand to her forehead, looking helpless. In the distance, John sobbed alone under a tree, hugging his knees. Because I was preparing the flowers, I couldn't see you. But you smiled at those other guys like that. Why do you give me that kind of expression? John clenched his fists tightly, burning with anger. Why doesn't the princess like me? Two young men approached. One of them spoke. Prince John, are you all right? John shot to his feet, glaring at them warily. Who are you? We are Morgan and Philip, Princess Saraphina's cousins. One of them spoke with a smile. It seems something has made you unhappy. John looked down without a word. Do you want us to help you? In a luxurious room, Theodore held up a glass of red wine. He gritted his teeth. I was planning to use the princess as an excuse to depose Quillian and take his place. He slammed the wine glass on the table. Why is the princess's reputation getting better and better? Quillian, that cunning fox. He's marrying off the princess to keep me in check. Oof. In the end, the suitors are all after power. I will help you become the princess's husband, as long as you promise your support in return. Because the suitors are just children, that they're easy to manipulate. My sons, this time you must do it right. Golden lightning erupted from John's body. He clenched his fists, filled with uncontrollable rage. His pupils flickered with a malicious light. An immense power burst forth in an instant. Romeo stared at John in shock. Hey, are you crazy? An attack without any warning. How incredibly rude. Is this the standard of Azar? Sparks of electricity swirled around John. He crouched down, taking a fighting stance. Bring it on. Romeo, he suddenly raised his head. A roar echoed through the courtyard. Don't hide like NOV, come out and fight. John turned into a golden flash of lightning, rushing down from the tree. Romeo shouted in panic. Another attendant wiped away cold sweat. If Prince John gets hurt, it will cause a diplomatic incident. John threw a punch. A burst of golden energy exploded. November. Accept my duel. He glared at Romeo, the princess's suitor. To think he's such a weakling. John stopped fighting. John's gaze fell upon Saraphina. The electricity around his body instantly dissipated. He froze on the spot. Saraphina was being held in Dylan's arms. She looked bewildered. What's the situation now? Your Highness, please wait. John's eyes lit up. He shouted excitedly, I'll take this guy down. Saraphina hurriedly reached out to stop him. Stop. This won't do. John is a member of a royal family. We can't touch him lightly. The soldiers can't conveniently intervene either. It seems I'll have to handle this myself. Your Highness. Castelin's figure appeared before him. John, wrapped in golden lightning, threw a fierce punch. Castelin's protective shield blocked the attack. Romeo fell to the ground. She called out softly. John shouted excitedly, Castelin, you're just in time. I challenge you for the right to be a suitor. Castelin was expressionless, his eyes firm. I accept. A confident smile played on John's lips. Sparks flickered around him. John turned into a golden flash of lightning and charged violently at Castelin. Castelin stood his ground, his eyes coldly watching the incoming attack. Castelin held a staff with one hand. The end of the staff lightly tapped the ground. He suddenly turned his body. The long staff drew an arc of spiritual energy. John was hit in the abdomen by the staff. He was sent flying by the immense force, landing heavily in the distance. John struggled to get up. Damn it, I will become the princess's fiancé. Only the strong are worthy of her. She belongs to me. A stronger golden light erupted from John's body. His pupils burned with rage. In a place like this, I absolutely cannot. A cold voice rang out. Prince John, do you wish to die? An ominous black aura swept over. He was scared out of his wits, his body trembling uncontrollably. John shuddered all over. This killing intent. He looked up in terror. I'm going to die. This guy, he's really going to kill me. Saraphina rushed forward. Father, you can't kill him. Quillian's killing intent did not waver. Saraphina shouted urgently, I don't want that. I like my kind father. A flicker of movement in Quillian's eyes. The black aura around him instantly dissipated. The courtyard returned to calm. Quillian's voice was as cold as iron. He attacked the heir of another nation within Astoria Castle. Even if he is the Prince of Azza, he cannot be forgiven. Quillian gave the order. Prince John is to prepare to return to his country immediately. John collapsed onto the ground, his face ashen. Father. Saraphina walked to his side, looking up to plead. Prince John did indeed make a grave mistake, but could you give him one more chance? Quillian's gaze fell on his daughter. Suha. That matter. Saraphina's eyes were firm. There are some things that concern me. We need to observe John a little more. Everything was unexpected, but the result isn't so bad. I really wish John had killed one of the suitors. Quillian would have taken all the blame anyway. He hasn't been kicked out yet. Then let's provoke him a little more and continue to instigate the other suitors. Saraphina was walking down a long corridor. Philip, Morgan, hello. Saraphina gave a brilliant smile. Long time no see. Philip bowed slightly. Your Highness, it has been a long time. The timing is perfect. I have something I'd like to ask you. I heard you were fanning the flames for Prince John because he's the most suitable suitor. You want to help him become the fiancé. Philip's expression instantly stiffened. That's right. Is there a problem? This little brat. I'm just concerned about you as your cousin. Saraphina's eyes were sharp. That's right. If you had only said that to one person. Romeo let out a cold laugh. Wow, your story is really interesting. But you said the same thing to me. Lord Romeo. Philip cried out in alarm. Saraphina pursed her lips. Castelin also said the same thing. You also told those three that if they supported Uncle Theodore, you would recommend them to become the fiancé. This means, Saraphina's gaze sharpened, that you're plotting a rebellion. Philip was in a panic. No, Lord Romeo is lying. Romeo walked to Saraphina's side. Is that so? Then let's call all three of them here and ask. Philip and Morgan's faces turned pale, and they trembled all over. Saraphina turned to leave. I will explain everything to father. She waved her hand, her smile brilliant and cold. John was kneeling on the ground, surrounded by wreckage. Saraphina's voice echoed in his mind. Until you sincerely apologize to Romeo and Castelin and reflect on your actions, I will not see you. All tea parties are also canceled. Don't even send flowers. He lowered his head, his shoulders trembling slightly. Why? Why would the princess abandon me? A voice whispered in the darkness. Do you need my help? A glowing figure appeared before him. Kill everyone who stands in your way. Hate pulsed on the back of his hand. They only have hatred left. Let hatred consume you. John's golden pupils suddenly constricted. Light gathered in his eyes. This is your talent. Saraphina rested her chin on one hand, gazing at the empty room. As I thought, he's not coming today either. He's so stubborn. All he had to do was apologize. Saraphina sighed softly. I still have so many things I want to ask you. Now I have to go find you myself. She turned to look at Dylan behind her. It can't be helped. Dio, you can have tea with me. He smiled gently. Of course. It would be my honor, Your Highness. As he was about to pull out a chair, a cold voice came from the doorway. Don't sit there. That's my seat. John stood at the door, surrounded by ominous golden lightning. John's eyes burned with rage. Who do you think you are, daring to sit next to the princess? A powerful magical energy erupted from his body. Saraphina's pupils suddenly constricted. This familiar magical energy. This is... John turned into a golden flash of lightning and lunged at Dylan. Dio, John has the Demon King seed too. Dion instantly drew his sword. His blade glowed with a green light, blocking John's attack. John roared, Who do you think you are? The seat next to the princess is mine. It's mine. He gathered golden lightning in his hands and roared as he charged at Dylan. A figure as fast as lightning instantly intervened between the two. Saraphina's red pupils burned with rage. Her foot landed heavily on John's face, stomping him hard onto the ground. Saraphina looked down on him, her voice bone-chillingly cold. Who did you want to kill? Say it again. Who were you planning to kill? John struggled to lift his head, his voice trembling. Princess, we shouldn't fight. That voice said, we are both demon kings. We should be allies. That way, we can do whatever we want, destroy and rule this world. She released her foot. Out of the question. No matter what, I will protect this world. For the people I love. Saraphina's gaze fell on John. John, instead of a world of destruction, don't you want a world where you can have fun with me? So don't give in to that voice. Suddenly, the sound of the castle's barrier shattering was heard. Saraphina's expression changed. The castle's barrier is breaking. This divine power. It's Castelin. Footsteps approached from a distance. A figure appeared at the hall's entrance. Seraphina's gaze was captivated. Castelin was dressed in a white holy robe, holding a long sword. There wasn't a single ripple in his blue eyes. The demon king of wrath. His seed has awakened. Golden lightning erupted from John's body. He glared at the new intruder. Castelin, if only you didn't exist. Seraphina's heart pounded. No, if this goes on, John's seed will. Dylan grabbed Seraphina tightly from behind. No, your highness. He pleaded urgently, please, you must cherish your own life no matter what. John raised his hand, which was gathering lightning, and aimed it at Castelin. Castelin gripped the hilt of his sword. A flash of blue light. He swung his sword, cutting at the incoming golden lightning. Blood splattered, staining the magnificent carpet. Suddenly, an even more terrifying power erupted. A giant red dragon's tail whipped out from behind Seraphina, sweeping across the entire hall with a force to destroy everything. A voice echoed in the darkness. Foolish Emma. You should have killed me when I was a child. Do you regret it? No. Blood trickled from the corner of Emma's mouth. No matter who you are, your highness, a child's death can never be justified. There is nothing more terrible than taking a child's life. Please stop at once. Seraphina spread her arms, shielding the unconscious John. Don't destroy his soul. Castellan's voice was calm and firm. Move aside. Princess Seraphina, are you planning to kill Prince John? Prince John has the Demon King's seed. If left alone, he will become a Demon King and bring disaster to the world. Even so, you want to kill a 9-year-old child? I can't let you kill anyone. Her red pupils blazed, her voice trembling with anger. You're just a child yourself. A flicker of emotion crossed Castellan's blue eyes. His lips parted slightly. Before being a child, I am first a holy messenger and a priest. Killing the Demon King is my duty, Princess Seraphina. Seraphina's expression froze. She clutched the object on her chest tightly. She raised her head, her gaze fixed on Castelin. Last time, you said you would grant me one wish, anything but love. Then please, grant your mercy to John, Castelin. Seraphina's eyes were resolute. Since I've already intervened, I can't escape suspicion. If things get worse, I will choose to regress. If I die, I can start over and find another way. Castelin watched her in silence. Understood. This is just a temporary measure. I will monitor him and find a way to control the seed. Even so, if you want to do it this way, there is one condition. Seraphina looked at him, puzzled. What condition? Castellin's blue eyes locked onto hers. Princess, you must choose me as your fiancé. She asked coldly, why should I choose you? Castellin's gaze swept over John at the side. I have no proper reason to stay by Prince John's side, who could lose control at any moment. So please, let Prince John stay here, just like Duke Romeo is studying abroad. If I become your fiancé, Seraphina understood. So you can naturally monitor Prince John. Castelin bowed his head slightly. Yes, princess. So, please choose me as your fiancé. Seraphina lowered her head in thought. Everything was clear now. Castelin came here to become my fiancé, to kill the Demon King, which is me. Seraphina clenched her fists. Even though I need the divine power, this engagement is no different from suicide. But this is a chance to get information about the existence of another Demon King and a way to control the seed. Seraphina raised her eyes. All right, perhaps dying at his hands again isn't the worst thing, but I can't die yet. Seraphina placed her hand on her chest. I choose you as my fiancé. 2 hands clasped. My nemesis, my killer, and my fiancé. Bells echoed in the empty church. Seraphina and Castelin stood side by side. Castellin's blue eyes were without a ripple. Seraphina's profile was grave. Castelin stood on a tree branch, holding his longsword. I will protect the world of those I love at any cost. Don't give in to that voice. Princess, do you also have memories of regression? Seraphina's red pupils blazed. I can't let you kill anyone. You're just a child yourself. But if he is the Demon King, then why is it wrong for a child to kill? An elderly priest turned, his expression concerned. That would be a great tragedy. Castelin looked up and pressed. Even if it's an act of justice? The priest's reply was gentle but firm. An act that stains a child's hands with blood can never be just. Who told you that? A kind smile appeared on the priest's face. That person must be very kind. In Castellin's mind, Seraphina's figure appeared. A kind Demon King. My Demon King. Castelin slipped the ring onto Seraphina's finger. My prey, the one I am fated to kill again with my own hands. My fiancé. Castelin and Seraphina looked at each other in the hall. But why can't I do it? Why do I want to see you again when you're grown up? The bells chimed melodiously, echoing endlessly. Sunlight poured onto the magnificent palace. A gorgeous comb gently glided through Saraphina's long pink hair. Emma smiled. Your Highness, you've grown quite a bit taller. Saraphina looked at herself in the mirror. Still too short. Father's overprotectiveness is getting worse and worse. Emma put down the comb and comforted her softly. You'll grow up soon. All right, it's all done. Footsteps approached from afar. A voice called from outside the door. Your Highness. Saraphina looked up, and a pair of long legs came into view. Castelin's figure appeared at the door. He was dressed in a magnificent black formal suit. I've come to escort you. Saraphina flashed a brilliant smile. Welcome, Sir Castelin. She closed her eyes. She took a deep breath. This guy is here to monitor me again. 4 years have passed since our engagement. The maids whispered in the distance. They look more and more perfect for each other every year. A true match made in heaven. Including the year he spent proving his worth as a suitor. It's been 5 years. First, my plan to put a love potion in his food to get him addicted to me failed. Castelin tasted it without expression. It's delicious. Is that all? His divine power must be too strong, automatically purifying the potion. Theodore, who tried to collude with the suitors, confessed to bribery instead of treason, saving his life. He relinquished his title and most of his territory and was exiled. This is enough for now. Even so, assassination attempts are still endless. Castelin also seems to be waiting for the right moment. Yet, he still brings me flowers every day. Castelin stopped walking. Do you have something to say? We're already engaged. Why do you keep sending flowers? If you're worried the engagement will be called off. Castelin's blue eyes watched her quietly. He raised his hand and gently brushed Saraphina's hair. I just want to. That's all. Is it strange for a husband to give his wife flowers? Saraphina's hands trembled slightly. No, it's not strange. Castelin, he says such lies so smoothly with that shameless face. What did he become so glib? John ran over, his face beaming with an enthusiastic smile. Your Highness, you're here. He saw the man beside the princess, and his smile instantly froze. Why are you holding the princess's hand? Let go. Castelin replied without expression. I am Her Highness's fiancé. I cannot let go without her permission, Prince John. John pointed angrily at Castelin. You forced the princess into this engagement through threats. How despicable. I know everything. Saraphina's smile froze on her face. As promised, Castelin helped John control the Demon King's seed through magical training. Due to John's stubborn insistence that he wouldn't attend class unless I came, I was able to observe as well. John looked disdainful. Once the seed is gone, I'll definitely make you break off the engagement. Castelin looked at him coldly. The seed cannot be removed. So childish. The training methods I learned from observing later came in very handy. But she stood before the mirror in a white nightgown. Light gathered at her chest. The seed is growing faster than expected. She gently touched her chest. I must find a great archmage or a dragon as soon as possible. Sunlight streamed through the intricate window panes, filling the room. That was exhausting. John hugged her leg tightly. Castelin, that demonic bastard. A cold-hearted doll. So annoying. Saraphina gently stroked his head. You did well, but you can't attack Castelin anymore. We promised, remember? John looked up, his eyes shining. Yes, I promised to listen to the princess. Saraphina smiled in relief. That's right. You did very well. By the way, how is the investigation I requested going? Ah, you mean the investigation about the great archmage? The one who suggested sending you from Azza to Astoria. He used to visit from time to time, but now he's completely disappeared. Unless he shows up on his own, there seems to be no way to meet him. Saraphina stood in a sea of golden flowers, the gentle breeze stirring her long hair. The great archmage likely knew John's true identity and sent him to Astoria for that reason. Her pupils suddenly constricted. Impossible. Then does he know about me too? A familiar voice called out, My princess. Romeo smiled. Shall we depart now? Romeo. Dylan, are the horses ready? Romeo replied respectfully, Yes, you may depart now. Then, Princess, allow me to help you onto the horse. Dylan lifted Saraphina steadily and placed her on the horse's back. He watched her gently. Your Highness, are you feeling unwell anywhere? Saraphina smiled and shook her head. No, thank you. Deal. Romeo watched from the side. There he goes again. Does this guy really need to be so wary of everyone around the princess. It's terrifying. Dylan turned his head and gave him a cold look. Romeo chuckled and complained, Sir Dylan, you don't give me any chances at all. Dylan replied expressionlessly, my apologies. Protecting the princess is my duty. Romeo waved his hand. I know. Anyway, thank you. Well then, let's set off. Birds chirped crisply in the forest, and sunlight filtered through the gaps in the leaves. Romeo sighed from the heart. Prince John is so lucky to have such a cute sister. Saraphina felt a little uncomfortable. My hair is a mess. She lowered her voice. Romeo, have you found the information I asked you to look for? Romeo's lips curved into a smug smile. Guess what? A flicker of anticipation crossed Saraphina's eyes. Don't tell me you actually found something. Romeo's voice held a hint of mystery. There's intel about a dragon being sighted in Santray, but dragons have been gone for hundreds of years. I thought it was just another rumor. Romeo's voice grew serious. But all the dragon slayers who entered Santray on the news were killed. The scene was so gruesome that not even their bodies could be fully recovered. Saraphina lightly touched her lips. Then, there must be something dangerous on that mountain. A dragon, or a being as powerful as a dragon. Romeo turned his head to look at her. Princess, did you ask me to investigate just because you're curious about dragons? Saraphina stared ahead. Actually, I want to see one for myself. Astoria was once a country protected by a guardian dragon, so I want to ask it to protect our country. Romeo sighed. A dragon that left because it detested humans. Can it really be persuaded? If it's really that powerful. Seraphina's smile vanished. Any human who sees it can't be guaranteed to return alive. But when have I ever been an ordinary human? Sarah, come here. Quillian beamed. My daughter, you came all this way to see your father. He lifted Seraphina up and spun her around. Seraphina's face turned bright red. I'm so embarrassed. Put me down. Emma reminded him from the side. Your Majesty, the princess is at an age where she needs consideration. Quillian immediately put Seraphina down. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Are you angry? I always forget how much you've grown. Is it because dragon blood mixed with the royal bloodline? His strength is still so immense. Seraphina smiled and shook her head. I'm not angry, just a little embarrassed. And I happen to have a favor to ask of you. Quillian's expression softened. I'm happiest when you say things like that. Very well, what do you need? Seraphina's eyes sparkled with anticipation. This year, I'd like to go to Santray for vacation. Quillian's gaze instantly sharpened. Quillian's voice was calm and resolute. I'm very sorry, but it will be difficult for you to leave the palace. Do you have any other requests? Seraphina's eyes dimmed. As I thought, he refused. It seems he still hasn't forgotten about Mother. That day also happened while they were on vacation. Quillian's tone was full of affection. You must be so bored being trapped in the palace all the time. He smiled and suggested, then I'll summon the mages and create an ocean in the palace. If you want to go to the mountains, I'll have them move a mountain here. He turned as if to give the order. I'll give the order right away. Seraphina was aghast. No, he'll really do it. She quickly spoke up. AC, actually, it's about last night. Seraphina closed her eyes. I didn't want to use this trick, but to see the dragon, I have no other choice. She opened her eyes and looked directly at Quillian. So, in my dream, Mother appeared. Quillian's body went rigid, his pupils constricting. He whispered in disbelief, Lucia. Seraphina's tone was earnest. I dreamed that I went to Santray with Mother when I was little. Mother loved Santray, didn't she? A memory surfaced. Quillian holding a young Seraphina. Lucia gently holding John, the family happy together in the garden. Seraphina lowered her eyes. So I want to go. I'm sorry, Mother. Father, to save this world, this is the only way. Quillian's expression finally softened. Yes, I can't keep you locked in the palace forever. Perhaps Lucia wanted to tell me this herself. Hope rekindled in Seraphina's eyes. Quillian turned. Lady Dre, Emma. Emma stepped forward. Yes, Your Majesty. Quillian gave his instructions. Let's discuss Sarah's vacation. The kitchen was bustling with activity. Castelin focused on tossing a wok, his movements skilled and elegant. Two maids watched, mesmerized. Sir Castelin cooks for the princess every day. He's so thoughtful. Another chef's face was full of approval. Today's dish is exceptionally well made. The princess is leaving for her vacation tomorrow. She'll be able to enjoy delicious food on the road. Castelin took the sandwich. As always, thank you for your help, but it seems there's not enough seasoning. I'll have to be careful next time. He still only eats black bread and water, but his sense of taste has recovered a lot. The chef picked up the conversation. After all, there are some things you only understand after tasting them yourself. Castelin nodded in agreement. Yes, That's right. Castellan's gaze deepened. At first, I learned to cook to poison her. Wow, are these madeleines? Castelin handed the box to Saraphina. You said you liked madeleines the most, so I made them. Saraphina took it in pleasant surprise. You remembered. Thank you, I'll enjoy them. She held the box with both hands, her face beaming with a happy smile. Castelin watched him quietly, unable to look away. Castelin passed her the cake. Saraphina was a little confused. Castelin lowered his eyes. Come to think of it, I haven't tasted it yet. I'll try it first. If it's okay, I'll give it to you. Back then, it was just because dealing with the evidence was troublesome. The chef watched Castellan's back. Could it be that he's unhappy because he can't go on vacation with her? If that's the case, he spoke up. Sir Castelin, if it's not too much trouble, could you help with dinner today? We're planning to make a French cold soup for dinner. Castelin picked up a sandwich. It's potato soup, right? That's right. Then leave it to me. Just as I thought. You look most at ease when you're cooking. Castelin peeled potatoes with skillful knife work. Night fell. Castelin returned to his room. His steps were heavy. He took off his shirt, revealing his muscular back. A letter lay quietly on the table. It was from the Pope. He picked up the envelope. Is this another inquiry about the mission's progress? Castelin opened the letter, his eyes sweeping over the paper. The handwriting on the paper was cold. Castelin, it has been 4 years since you came to Storia. Congratulations on your engagement to Princess Saraphina. May you be well, Castelin. For years have passed. We are concerned that the mission seems to have made no progress. We have heard that the princess will be vacationing in Santre. We will send reinforcements to join them. Please do not forget your duty. A flash of determination crossed his blue eyes. As you command, Your Holiness, the Pope. The 11th Knight Order escorted the princess's carriage. The 12th Knight Order and mages were on standby on both sides. Saraphina looked at the formation before her. Saraphina looked at the carriage in front of her. Isn't this a bit much? John's voice was heard. Sarah, are you ready to go? Saraphina turned in pleasant surprise. Brother, you're here. John smiled, his gaze gentle. A sharp glint flashed in his eyes. A golden light flashed. Saraphina turned her head in alarm. An attack? John waved his hand nonchalantly. Oh, there was a bee that might have stung you. I just blew it away with magic. It's safe now. Saraphina stood frozen. What? A bee? And now it seems another pest has arrived. Sir Castelin. Castelin was carrying a picnic basket. I thought you might need some snacks on your journey, so I prepared this. He opened the basket. Inside was meticulously prepared food. Wow, it smells so good. Thank you. Saraphina took the basket. I wish you could come with us, Sir Castelin. You said you were going to Zara for your coming-of-age ceremony, right? John stood behind him, exuding an ominous aura. Brother, please calm down. Saraphina's gaze shifted. He's not just going back for his birthday. He must have another purpose. I was originally going to give this to you after you returned, but it's better to give it to you now. Saraphina handed over a box, a brilliant smile on her face. Happy birthday, Sir Castelin. Castelin stared, stunned, at the gift in his hand. It was a dried flower necklace. I made this with the marigolds you gave me. Castellin's jawline tightened. Thank you. I will treasure it. Saraphina smiled like a flower. Happy birthday. Return safely. Well, I'll be going then. Castelin called out to her, Princess, please wait a moment. Saraphina stopped and turned back, puzzled. Castelin took off the necklace from his neck. He handed the necklace to Saraphina. Please take this as a gift in return for the necklace. Princess, I wish you a safe journey. A golden chain dangled, a blue gem at its end shimmering with a faint light.